Document Solutions. Call 775-5500.
Texas Document Solutions.
Call 775-5500.
It's time to get closer and go farther with Optimum Mobile, voted #1 in customer satisfaction. The more lines you add, the more you save. That means you can get unlimited data for $30 a month per line when you get 2 or more lines. Add that line for him or for her and for them, because every line adds up to more savings. And with 5G access included, you'll stay connected on the network that has 4 times more 5G coverage than Verizon. Switch to Optimum Mobile and get unlimited data, talk, and text for $30 a month per line for 2 or more lines. And the savings keep adding up with great deals on the latest 5G phones with the lowest monthly pricing. It's the perfect time to get closer to Optimum Mobile and go farther with more ways to add and save, all at the same time. Visit Optimum.com/mobile or call 800-864-0500. Autopay required. Exclusive pricing for 2+ lines of service with unlimited data option. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. Other terms and conditions apply.
For your car, your home, your business too, Acme Glass takes care of you. For over 60 years, we're the clear leader. Our quality and value keep shining through. For repair and replacement on all kinds of glass, you can trust Acme for quality that lasts. Where quality and value keep shining through, Acme Glass, we're the clear leader. Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Gringo's Mexican Kitchen, Blue Baker, Awards and More, Dirt Road Rustics, Front Street Burgers, and Scoots. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
If you are on the road following your favorite team this fall, then you need to drop by SevCheck Service Center. Pat, Mark, the entire staff will make sure your vehicle is ready for the road, whether it's a quick oil change, a new battery, or something more significant. SevChecks has been keeping cars and trucks running smoothly for over 50 years. SevChecks is open daily from 7 to 6 and Saturdays 7 to 4. SevCheck Service Center, 2200 Longmire, just out from the post office in College Station.
Aggieland, this is your home for Houston Astros baseball. Brought to you by Kelly Bird Dozer. Kelly Bird Dozer. You're listening to KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the zone. The Brazos County Health District reports the COVID community level as determined by the CDC has dropped to a medium level. The pandemic was the first thing on the mind of Texas A&M Faculty Senate Speaker Dale Rice when he presented his monthly report last week.
First and foremost is your own good health. Meetings in recent weeks confirm that COVID is active on campus.
Tomorrow's Brazos County Commission meeting agenda includes a pandemic update from the health district's chief epidemiologist. For the third time, the Bryan City Council agrees to change the terms of an economic development agreement involving a downtown housing project.
No council members had anything to say in public before their unanimous vote last week. Across Main Street from the Farmers Market, loft apartments are being built at 22nd and Main. 3 years ago, the council agreed to pay for off-street and on-street parking. Rising construction costs was listed as the reason for the council increasing the city's share of the cost from $100,000 to $150,000. The amended agreement still requires the developer of Jordan's Lofts to be ready for occupancy by April of next year. The building, with a minimum appraised value of $7 million, also includes retail and office space. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
Volunteer work is coming to city cemeteries in Bryan. City Manager Keene Register reported during last week's council meeting that the Young Men's Service League will be putting in up to 400 hours cleaning fence lines at Oakwood Cemetery.
The group will also be helping Wreaths Across America with a project to replace the ossuary for USA flag ashes and rework the Old Glory headstone and grounds behind the Aston Chapel within the Bryan Cemetery.
Register also said the Aston Chapel ossuary will be part of the Veterans of Brazos Valley Memorial dedication the morning of Veterans Day in the Veterans area of the Bryan City Cemetery. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why, see the why, and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Number 24, Texas A&M football got back up on the win wagon Saturday, edging number 13 Miami 17-9 at Kyle Field. Max Johnson picked up his first victory as the Aggies starting quarterback, completing 10 of 20 passes for 140 yards and a touchdown.
Freaking awesome. I love playing with these guys, going to practice every day and, coming out here, getting a win over a top 15 team is pretty incredible. Shout out to the O-line and to the defense for, playing great tonight.
Well, Johnson got by with some help from Devon Achane, who ran for 88 yards and caught 4 passes for 42 yards in the score. With the victory, the Aggies improved to 2-1 and jump up to number 23 in this week's AP poll. To get Coach Jimbo Fisher's thoughts, tune into his weekly press conference this afternoon at 2 right here on The Zone. And out to the volleyball court, where the Maroon and White had a solid weekend, going 2-1 at the Western Kentucky Tournament. The ladies bounced back from an opening loss to Indiana with sweeps over number 21 WKU and Tennessee Tech. And Aggie soccer opened up its SEC slate on a bit of a low note Friday, falling to Georgia 3-2 at Ellis Field. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
On Sports Talk, Jimbo takes listeners behind the scene every Wednesday at 4:15.
You got to get guys in the box. You got to tackle well in space and get them in third and long. But then their quarterback's very dynamic. The tight end's dynamic. The receivers can play. I mean, you're going to have to play a complete football game and get off the field and then keep the ball in offense.
Sports Talk. Amaze your friends with Aggie football knowledge. Served without Kool-Aid every weekday afternoon since 1994 here on The Zone.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya.
All right, so several key players, starters, contributors out for this one. Texas A&M still finds a way to beat Miami 17-9, a game where sure Miami was a score away from potentially tying it, but also it was a game where I think A&M was a play or two away from blowing that team. There was drop passes in this one that could have been a touchdown, should have been a touchdown. Targeting calls on big third down plays out there deep inside their territory. No separation from wide receivers. A better but still very limited offense, but somehow, some way, they found a way, and now they play Arkansas in a game where hopefully they can put up some numbers against a pretty porous Arkansas secondary. We'll have to do it again, find a way. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And with that, we begin it with Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter. Looks like you got some numbers for me.
Oh, I always have numbers.
Yeah, you do. Inside the numbers with Olin Buchanan.
Well, no, not that. But, yeah, with the exception of the Sam Houston game, A&M's not been able to take advantage of another team's secondary.
No. But I will tell you this. I don't know if Miami's any good. I hope they're good, but I don't know if they're any good.
I hope they're outstanding.
Yeah.
I hope they win the ACC championship and
just blow out every team that they play the rest of the way.
Because then that makes me feel like, okay, that's an even bigger win than we thought. And maybe that – but I don't know what they are.
I was not impressed with Tyler Van Dyke, but they didn't pass that much. They should have run because that's what they could do against A&M.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't you said they didn't pass much. He threw 41 passes.
Just didn't feel like they were effective. How about that?
Well, that's true. The A&M pass defense, secondary, I thought was the story of the game. Yeah, Van Dyke. Again, I looked it up last year, and he closed the year with all these huge numbers, but the teams he was putting it up against were all against some of the worst pass defenses in the country. So I thought A&M would have a certain measure of success. Now, I wouldn't, unlike Johnny Manziel, I would have lost a lot of money betting that against Van Dyke to have even one touchdown pass.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he's going to have a huge year, and maybe the A&M defense is just that good.
I told you before the show started that Dave and Edmund had tweeted out, Aggie Dave, that A&M has not given up a touchdown on a drive that started because of a kickoff or a punt. The 2 touchdowns they've given up this year have been off of those turnovers in the App State game. Both were fumbles.
Yeah, one was kind of look, I get it, it's after a turnover, but it was still around the 30-yard line. Yeah. But the other one was like 29 yards. That's a gift. So one legitimate touchdown drive, right?
Right.
Now, that said, didn't Appalachian State have one for a field goal where the guy is wide open at the 5-yard line and just drops it? Yeah. It's a walk-in touchdown, and he drops it. But, yeah, the point is well taken that the A&M defense is playing really well.
Well-ish?
Yeah. Their secondary is playing well, especially when you consider all the issues they're dealing with right now. And I think their defensive line plays well, even though they're not getting the get-home pass rush that we had last year.
Look, they're not getting sacks. They're not really forcing turnovers. They're giving up chunks of yards on runs, yet the defense is playing really well. That's the part that that term "bend don't break" is used so often, but that's really the case with what they've been doing.
Yeah, I think Arkansas is really going to test that run defense this week. In my opinion, linebacker play is not very good right now.
Yeah,
I see guys that are actually running themselves out of the play, and the opponents are taking advantage of that. And Sam Pittman, that's an old offensive line coach and a really good one, so he's going to have a good offensive line. And Raheem Sanders is leading the SEC in rushing. So, and KJ Jefferson can run, so they're going to test that A&M run defense.
Yeah, what I want is for a physical A&M team to show up. I think they're the more physical team against Miami. They were not the physical team against App State. But against Arkansas, you're going to have to be physical because both lines are going to be pretty ready to roll.
Yeah, that's a game that last year was lost at the line of scrimmage. And they're always talking about the SEC being a line of scrimmage league. And that was a perfect example. A&M got beat on both sides of the line of scrimmage in that game. Now, can they come out and at the very least be a stalemate with that really good the best offensive line you're going to face so far?
Yeah.
And maybe the best offensive line you're going to face. And then will your offensive line, how will they – I think they made progress, but it wasn't a huge leap forward. It was a step forward. But, when are you going to go to where you can, not just, where you can consistently win at the line of scrimmage?
Here's a tweet from Darinoka. I'll read it to you. While it's easy to poke holes in A&M right now because of its offense, the defense has been great. In 3 games, the Aggies have missed a total of 2 tackles. 2. By comparison, LSU has missed 29, Arkansas 24, and Bama 10.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big reason why you're not giving up touchdowns. When another team does make a play, you get the tackle.
So one thing I do want to talk about offensively, I like Max Johnson back there. Not that he's splashy, not that he's making these amazing plays. I like his poise. It stood out to me when the pocket broke down. He would very easily step up, make the throw. He didn't rush things. He had a lot of drop passes in this game. The separation from the wide receivers was not great. I thought Max was steady. He was good enough. He wasn't spectacular. He didn't have to be with the way the defense was playing.
Throughout August, we talked about what you needed from your quarterback first. The first thing you needed was a quarterback that would not turn the ball over or make big blunders, and he took care of the ball. First and foremost, he took care of the ball, and he took advantage of some things that were there. All right, there's where you start.
Yeah,
keep doing that, and then see if you can't add some big plays later. But you can win against a ranked team if you're with that defense and a quarterback that's not giving it away.
How different does this game look? And we haven't gotten into the freshmen for being suspended. But if those freshmen are playing, there's at least 2 or 3 plays extra. There's more scoring in this game, I've got to believe, because of the separation that Evan Stewart brings and I think Chris Marshall brings.
I would like to think so. I would like to think that, again, if Miami, especially in the fourth quarter, if they're going to be stacking the box like they were, that you would have the more of ability to play action and get behind them.
Yeah.
I saw A&M receivers constantly well covered, with the exception of Anias on a couple of slants. Was there ever a pass thrown where the guy looked open?
No.
Yeah. So, they got to get some separation.
Miami had some drops too, so they had their issues. When I look at the receiving core, 4 different guys caught a pass for Texas A&M. Anias with 4, A-Chain with 4, then Donovan Green with 1, and Chase Lane with 1.
And that was a nice play by Max on Donovan Green's catch.
Uh-huh.
He's under pressure, knows where his check down is. He gets it, and Donovan Green can run. I want to see more of him.
I do too.
Actually, I thought when he was in there, I thought he did a good job blocking.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donovan Green's ready to play.
He is ready to play.
Play a lot.
He's been showing that. Some other notes on the stat line that I just caught out there. Obviously, Devon A-Chain, he has not hit the 100-yard mark yet. He was certainly on his way in the first half. Average, I believe it was 7.1 yards per carry in the first half. He ended just under 5. He finished 18 carries, 88 yards, and then on the receiving end, 4 catches, 42 yards.
I would hope that A&M would get to a point where when Devon gets a couple of good runs, then use him as a decoy. Because I saw him at one juncture against Miami. He has a nice run, and then he has another nice run, and then Miami's just so focused on him. The next game, he loses like a couple. And what a time to, let your quarterback keep it or play actions, because he's still A&M's primary and in some cases only weapon.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go around the room and say hello to the people out there behind the glass. We go. Nick Savage is there. Good morning, Nick.
Morning. How are y'all?
Howdy.
Howdy. Well, it was a big win on Saturday. I mean, like y'all were saying, it wasn't necessarily pretty, but, I mean, it's a damn good way to bounce back after what happened, the week prior. So hopefully it'll carry him into this week. Biggest test this week, I think.
Yeah, no, and honestly, excuse me for saying this, I think it's a big test. But if you have offense, which you kind of had offense against Miami, but not really, right? Like, let's not call that an offensive performance. They scored enough to win. But if you have offense, I think you beat Arkansas. I do. I think if you can score points, which you haven't proven that you can do this year, you win against Arkansas. Because I think the defense will be good enough against Arkansas. You've got to protect. The line still has some issues, but it's gotten better each game.
Well, every opponent Arkansas has played right so far and that includes Missouri State, has accumulated more than 400 yards of total offense and have scored at least, I think the lowest score against them was 24 by Cincinnati. So based on what we've seen from Arkansas, if you're a competent offense, you can move the ball on them.
Yep.
Now, what have we seen from A&M to make you think that they're going to be able to move the ball? I love A-Chain, and I think Max gives you a better chance because he just seems to have a little more awareness.
Yep.
But until you get some receivers that can, again, make some catches in traffic and get behind the DB and stretch it, and and better offensive line play, I don't know how you go into a game thinking that A&M is going to be able to score into the high 20s or 30s that typically is required to win.
So I'm looking at Evan Stewart's stats, just trying to think what it would look like had he played. Not that this tells you anything, but in the 2 games he's played, he's averaged 5 catches per game. Both games he's had 5 catches. 5 for 48 against App State, 5 for 57 against Sam Houston, longs of 19 and 23. Could you imagine having him there for 4 or 5 catches? Because nobody else was catching, right? You had Devon and Anias, and then you just had 1 and 1. Throw in 4 catches for Evan Stewart against Miami. How different that game could look.
Could have been. But,
wasn't there.
Wasn't there. And why not?
Some issues, but, I don't want to say I would have made the same mistake. But I remember making similar mistakes in my life, going out the night before tests, not studying. I'm not saying that it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The part that was worrisome to me was coming off of a loss where your team was embarrassed. But I made mistakes like that. So I wish he didn't, but he did. You move, and the rest of the guys too. You move on.
You weren't on scholarship and did not have a rule telling you not to go out.
No, but I remember what it was like at 18, thinking they ain't gonna catch me. I'll find a way. And they caught him. So we go to the News and Social Center. Tomas Romo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
I'm good.
I'm better. It's a
Aggies
better start
won,
to the week.
Cowboys won.
I'm in the same boat with you, Obi. I might go for the clean sweep. A&M won, Cowboys won, and I'm like 30 points. Hopefully A.J. Brown doesn't get, and I win in fantasy this week. So I'm feeling pretty good. Could be a really good day.
Tomas loves the fantasy. I have different fantasies, but Tomas loves fantasy football.
Do your fantasies always include Batman?
No, no, they don't. They include sleep on the beach.
Yeah.
All right, Tomas, what do you got?
I got one headline for you. Sidney Colson, Las Vegas Aces win WNBA championship. Texas A&M wins basketball legend Sidney Colson defeated the Kinetic Sun 78-71 in the WNBA finals last night. Colson played in 18 games this year, concluding her 8th season in the league with her first WNBA championship.
Cool thing.
So she won it by herself?
Well, the team won it. The Las Vegas Aces.
Oh, see, that's
You see how he responded to you? He was a little annoyed with
well,
your question.
did I even hear that though?
I
heard Sidney Colson beat the.
It was in the headline there.
Oh.
It was in the headline for you, Ob.
Oh, okay.
Hey, any text messages you want to get into?
CJ has a little bit of a concern about this third down defense. He goes, I worry about constantly running 3-down linemen on third down. There's yet again another drive where opposition had 10-plus plays where multiple third and longs were converted, and our third down defense still is a trouble spot for me.
It is a trouble spot. Third downs are a concern without a doubt. A couple of them that got bailed out. The Damani play. I looked at it. I understand why it was targeting call. I disagree with it. I hate that you go back to if you don't call it on the field, I don't like that you can, let's go back to the video and check a look. Just like, okay, you're going to do that for holding too? Like, when are you going to start, why?
Well, because they're trying to be safe. What I don't like is when a guy's coming in, and I'm not saying this was the case on Damani, okay, but I've seen this. A guy's coming in to make the tackle. He's already, made the move, and the guy with the ball ducks.
Yeah.
And then they collide, and then then it's helmet to helmet, and then you take the guy who was at first just trying to make a tackle, and he's done for that. And here's another thing I don't get: why? All right, if Damani Richardson had made that that foul, in the in the second half, he's going to miss 2 quarters of the next game.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
That happened to the University of Texas player.
But if it happens like late in the
Second quarter.
in the second quarter, essentially you miss 2 quarters.
That's the time to do
But
it.
if it happens in the first quarter, you see where I'm going with that?
If you're going to do it with a second left at the half.
Why is it right? So why isn't it just 2 quarters you're out? So if you did it in the first quarter, well, you play in the fourth quarter.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes, depending on when it is, you miss 3 quarters of action, and sometimes you miss 2.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't every penalty the penalty be the same?
It should be the same. Yeah, you're exactly right. Hey, Tomas, read this one from Chase in Houston because he did text us on Friday. When we do our bank on it, he banked on this. Go ahead and read it.
Chase in Houston, bank on A&M holding Miami to 10 points or less. Just saying, we took this to the bank on Saturday.
He was right.
Well, I hope he really actually bet that.
Right.
And banked it. I'm all for people making money. You see that? So I didn't realize that you could, because I haven't been in a casino in a while, sports book, that you can bet like Devon A-Chain to bet a certain amount of yards. And I think I read that the line was 75 yards.
Is that right?
And Johnny Manziel did that.
So he bet heavy. And yeah, I would take, if it's 75 yards, I'd take that every week.
Heck yeah, you
And
would.
sometimes I'm going to lose, but most of the time, that's a guy that can get that on one carry.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, my advice to you is find out what's the yardage
for Devon A-Chain.
Devon A-Chain, and always bet it, especially if it's under 100. Eventually, he's going to break out.
All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. We'll continue. By the way, if you want to text the show, you can do that on the AMB text line, 979-693-1150. Right now, we're talking Association of Former Students. Got the guys coming in on Wednesday here to studio to chit-chat about some of the things they got going on. And if you haven't gone by Aggie Park, you're missing out. Everybody who goes out there loves it. It's a very scenic, very beautiful place to hang out. Get your tailgate on there right before the Aggie game. By the way, it's going to be a little while till they're back. That's all right, though. You can still enjoy Aggie Park all year long. 140 years the association has been given back to students, current students and former students. That is what they do. They've done it for a long time. They love giving back to class reunions, muster, tailgate, the traveling Aggies. That is what they do. But you are their why. There's always a reason for why people do things, and Aggies are the reason that the association does it. So I highly recommend you check out IamTheWhy.com, a collection of stories of Aggie perspectives and insight, a place that you can upload your story and tell everybody your story of being an Aggie here at Texas A&M. Check it out, IamTheWhy.com. Again, that website, IamTheWhy.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Bush Library invites you to a summer film series featuring The Princess and the Frog. Friday, September 23rd by the pond. Games and food start at 7 and the movie begins at sunset. Brazos Valley beekeepers are hosting their annual bee school on Saturday, September 24th at First Baptist Church in Bryan. The full-day school has over 50 classes with many hot bee topics. Visit bvbeaks.org for more information. The Rotary Club of College Station invites your children to go wild with Roar, Rotary, and Reading. Saturday, September 24th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Hope Pregnancy Center invites you to Light Up the World, their annual benefit banquet on Thursday, September 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Ice House on Main. Find a link to purchase your tickets at WTAW.com. Start your Arkansas Saturday with the Zone Game Day Show, brought to you by TexAgs at 3 p.m. with Dusty, Bryce, and Louie. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town, only $12.99 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades, any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
It's time to get closer and go farther with Optimum Mobile, voted #1 in customer satisfaction. The more lines you add, the more you save. That means you can get unlimited data for $30 a month per line when you get 2 or more lines. Add that line for him or for her and for them, because every line adds up to more savings. And with 5G access included, you'll stay connected on the network that has 4 times more 5G coverage than Verizon. Switch to Optimum Mobile and get unlimited data, talk, and text for $30 a month per line line for 2 or more lines. And the savings keep adding up with great deals on the latest 5G phones with the lowest monthly pricing. It's the perfect time to get closer to Optimum Mobile and go farther with more ways to add and save, all at the same time. Visit Optimum.com/mobile or call 800-864-0500. Autopay required. Exclusive pricing for 2+ lines of service with unlimited data option. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. Other terms and conditions apply.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com. Zone1150.com.
Wow, return to Rocky. I did not request it, but all good. Rocky's always great, especially when they win. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
You just like guys that wear black. And I seen you're wearing black today.
I am.
You must be a Johnny Cash fan.
Huge Johnny Cash guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. But, you like Batman. He's always in black.
Yep.
You like Rocky. It's my favorite color, black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? I like ninjas.
I didn't know that.
I just made that up. But I don't dislike them. They could, they're tough. Hey, all right. If you want to be part of the show, you can text us on the A&B text line. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We're about to do the turning point, but a text came in on the A&B text line. I'm going to let Tomas Romo read it there from Joe76.
Team TexAgs, interesting question. How did Max Johnson do against the Hogs last year? Might make for some interesting discussion today and into this week.
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I didn't know how he did, and he got benched. He got benched quickly after a couple of drives. He was 3 of 6 in that game for 21 yards. Garrett Nussmeier came in and replaced him. Didn't do much better, as OB said, but he did not do well. Again, they have they had some struggles on the offensive line there, as A&M has had a little bit this year as well. That does not necessarily mean it's going to translate the same way this weekend, but it is something to look at.
3 of 6. They're getting off to a slow start. Orgeron panicked. Final score was 16-13, so it's not like they went overtime 16-13. It's not like Nussmeier came in and had a big game. I think he had 2 interceptions in that game, but did throw a touchdown pass. But so basically, we have no data for him against Arkansas.
Yeah, we're about to find out. OB, what do you think the turning point in the game Saturday was?
That's a good question.
Thank you, sir. I ask sometimes good questions.
Is it Anaya Smith recovering his own fumble?
Could be. I'll give you a couple of thoughts that I had. I think it's the fact that they started the second half with Miami getting the ball and not going 3 and out, but pretty close to it. I think it was maybe a 5, maybe 6 plays, whatever it was. It was quick. They got 1 first down, and then A&M got the ball back. And then A&M going the length of the field and scoring a 25-yard touchdown by Devon Achane to give them the 17-3 lead. With the way the defense was playing, I felt like that was the turning point. You could also say...
I got one.
Okay. Let me throw one more at you. The defense teeing off and also Miami having some issues on the second to last drive where they saw a 2nd and 30, couple holding calls. To me, that was like it was a wrap at that point.
Okay, late. I want to say, maybe it's early in the fourth quarter. I don't even know. About 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I guess. A little more than 8. Miami is looking at a 3rd and 6. There's so much angst about A&M on 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
You'll remember the play. 3rd and 6. They're at the A&M 18-yard line. And they complete a crossing route. But you'll remember Antonio Johnson coming over.
Oh, yeah.
And, cutting the guy down, kind of, and
I think Antonio got hurt on that play, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Held him to 2 yards, though. They kicked a field goal at that point to make it 17-9 instead of being able to go in for a touchdown, which later, had they scored the touchdown,
changes the way they
go.
Yeah.
They're down, 17-14, and they're at the end. When they're trying, it changes everything you're trying to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very good call. If you got a different turning point or you want to react to it, you can text us on the A&B text line. We'll be talking about that here on the show as we move on. Right now, though, we're going to hit a quick break because when we come back, we're going to do a little overreaction and some other major offensive issues I want to get into. Right now, though, we're talking about Heritage Films. Chance McClain was watching the game. He was tweeting at me, loving every second of it. He does documentary films. And if you haven't taken advantage of it, you're missing out, right? This is a great thing, especially with the holidays coming up here not too far away. Consider this as a gift to your family. Heritage Films does these documentary films about your family, about your dad. I like to call it the eye in the sky. Maybe you have a family reunion, a birthday party, maybe even a sporting event that you guys go to together. Let Chance and his crew be an eye in the sky and tell your family story, your family origin story. He does it in documentary form, Netflix style, 2 hours, a lot of times with the video and the pictures from your life. It's a great way to share your family story generation after generation. He's not advertising other places. He does the Michael Berry Show and he does TexAgs because he knows we care about our history, something that Aggies can guarantee that we really care about our culture, our history, and our customs. Check it out at yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
It's the one show in the world that tops Aggie football, Star Wars, and progressive overload at the gym. It's TexAgs Radio with Dave, Olin, and Billy here on the Zone.
Come experience the Warehouse at CC Creations, the world's greatest Aggie shopping experience. With 28,750 square feet, the Warehouse at CC Creations is the Guinness World Records title holder for the largest collegiate merchandise store in the world. We are your one-stop shop for your entire family to stock up on Aggie apparel and gifts. Shop in-store 7 days a week or online at thewarehouse@cc.com. Keep the tradition. Shop the Warehouse, located at 114 Holloman, just 1 mile south of Kyle Field.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Gulf States Toyota, Hargrove Insurance, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hear ye! Join the king of the Texas Renaissance Festival in the first ever Renfest Northgate Pub Crawl on Friday, September 23rd. 6 p.m. at Rough Draft, 6:30 at Dudley's Draw, Dixie Chicken at 7, and O'Bannon's Tap House at 7:30. Dress in your favorite Renaissance garb for a chance to win Renfest tickets. Come to one, come to them all. We'll see you in Northgate this Friday, and we'll see you at the Texas Renaissance Festival starting October 8th. Huzzah!
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to
Prosperity Bank, Zwerneman Flooring, ASAP Equipment, and Amarillo National Bank.
To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Nestle Toll House Cafe by Chip, Socorro's Second Chance Resale Shop, Superior Auto Service, and Specialties Photography. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Do you love Aggie football? The Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service, two remarkable businesses, one great family. We love Aggie football, too. Every Monday at 2, it's Aggie Football Media Day. Jimbo Fisher live, thanks to T-Mobile. And every Wednesday, we listen into the players. Also, thank you, T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. Check in with the Louis Bellina Show weekdays, 11 to 2.
Yeah, Jimbo, obviously you had some issues getting some completions downfield. How much do you think not having some of the guys that were suspended?
I don't. I think it don't matter if you're not protecting.
You can have Jerry Rice running down through there. We got to do a better job protecting in the pocket and doing some of those things. And the guys that played did a heck of a job.
I kindly disagree. There was no separation from the receivers. While he may be right about the line, I think he is right about the line, I still didn't see any separation from receivers. There were some passes that Max had, but there was
I would go so far as to say, if you could take, and you can't, but if you could take Anais Smith out of the equation, okay, that the offensive line had a better day than the receivers did.
I agree with that.
So,
I mean, they opened up holes for Achane to run this week at least.
I mean, talking about pass protection.
Well, I'm just saying in general, though, but yes, pass protection wise.
I'm not, and they weren't good, but every time it seemed like that A&M was trying to pick up a third down if it wasn't going to Anais, or throwing the ball out to Devon Achane, which is always a good option.
This is TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We called this the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, we did Turning Point last segment, but I'm going to read one from Josiah White there on the YouTube chat, and I think he may have hit it on this one. Turning point was the muff punt, one or maybe both. And in a way, we talked about that pre-show. Both of those muff pumps led to something. A&M scored on theirs. A&M scored on Miami's muff punt. And A&M got on their own muff punt.
Here, I'll give you another one. I mean, because I don't know that there was a turning point. But if there was, maybe it's Jalen Jones making a tackle on 2nd and 10 at about the A&M 40 or thereabouts, and the last drive makes a tackle and keeps the Miami guy from going out of bounds. So the clock's running, and now Miami is 4th down. I guess it was 3rd down place. Now it's 4th and 4, and they've got to move. They've got to, even if they
is that the one they dropped on 4th down?
Yeah, it was it wasn't a easy catch. It should have been made, but maybe getting hit a few times had something to do with that. But the point is that if he's out of bounds, Miami has more time to
set up their play.
So and then the next play they incomplete and A&M wins, because it's hard to me to identify a turning point when the game is in jeopardy in the last minute.
Any victory over a ACC team in that kind of ilk, if you will, any victory over a top 25 team, I don't care how it comes, I'm happy, because you look at the margin of error last year for Alabama, for Texas A&M, and for all these teams. These games come down to the fourth quarter. They do. A&M was the better team. I'll take it. I don't care how it happened. I will freaking take it.
You know what? It's the old line that's just repeated over and over. Just win. Now, you can say that, and we remember how 2 years ago just winning wasn't enough to get in the playoff. But at this point,
I'm not even thinking about that.
If you find out a way, if you beat Arkansas by 1 point in an ugly game, and let's say this one's 10-9, that's beautiful.
Yep.
Just win.
Just continue to win.
You don't need style points at this juncture.
If you win, you don't. I mean, especially now. To me, you're also in a different kind of place right now. You're still, even though it does not erase App State. I'm sorry, the Miami game doesn't erase it, but it's starting to feel better. Right? You beat Arkansas, you feel I just spit everywhere. You feel significantly better.
Well, the idea of beating Arkansas makes me drool and water at the mouth as well.
If you do, all right, you get a victory over a top 10 team after.
I did have some pork ribs yesterday.
How were they?
Yeah, they're good.
Pretty good.
Mouth watering.
Yeah. So now let's do the overreaction, because people do overreact to things, good and bad. And I'm going to overreact to one, OB.
Okay.
I'm overreacting to our major I'm not going to overreact to our major offensive issues yet. There are some major offensive issues. There's no doubt about it. I just don't want to use Saturday as the barometer, because I'm going to give it an incomplete based on players not being there. I know there's 3 games of film. There's a lot of data out there, but I feel like you almost get a complete reboot this week against Arkansas, because A, it's SEC play, and B, you should have week 2 of Bryce Foster at center, and you should hopefully have your receiving core back on track.
Yeah, that's one of the first questions we have to ask. Because were we ever told how long the suspension was for? I'm assuming it was one game.
I assume a game, yeah.
But we got to find that out for sure. So would I be considered overreacting? Because maybe on Overreaction Monday, I don't know if I'm overreacting or not, if I am alarmed and raising the red flags at the linebacker play in the run defense.
Yeah.
So my overreaction, I guess, is that I went back last night and watched the game again, and I was focused on linebacker play, and I saw guys sometimes running themselves away from the hole, not even reading, just and a lot of that's why you saw so many DBs making tackles. I thought as good as Tyler Van Dyke is supposed to be, and he does have a heck of an arm, that when he passed, it was actually almost a gift to A&M because at least they weren't running.
Yep, they weren't running. I am worried about it, especially knowing what Arkansas does well. KJ Jefferson can run, the backfield can run. They got a physical offensive line. Hopefully, we see a different approach. Because with Miami, you kind of expect them to pass because you got Tyler Van Dyke. Yes, they're trying to get back to more of a conventional offense. I know that's what Cristobal wants to do.
And what worries me is that KJ Jefferson may not be as accomplished a passer as Van Dyke, but he's a good passer. However, when it comes to running, he's light years ahead of him. Now, all that said, I'm not going to hoist up the white flag because I never surrender.
Sure.
But I'm having to raise a little red flag about the run defense.
Yeah, the run defense is. I felt like we were talking about it there in the press box. Why aren't they running? They ran a lot, but just continue to run.
I would just say until you stop me, and you got to stop me in more than one play because anybody can make a good play on one play, but can you consistently do it? And when they were stopped in the run game, more often than not, it was because a defensive lineman or two just made the play at the line of scrimmage. But if they weren't getting the play done at the line of scrimmage, it appeared to me then you're more often than not relying on your DBs to come up and make the stop.
Let's kind of go through some of your learned, loved, and loathed here, OB. And one of those was the run defense is a concern. So we've already touched on that. The offensive line on learning is still a concern, but I think better. And I want to ask you this. Last year, the offensive line was an issue up until the Alabama game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was what, 5 games in?
They played better against Mississippi State, but you didn't think that they were, you still had some questions. And they went and played the Alabama game, and they played really well. They jumbled the lineup a little bit.
So would you say that potentially, again, we're forecasting that the Miami game is maybe the Mississippi State game in this year's?
Could be. I thought Trey Zune had his best game, and it makes sense. You're 3 games into it's only your 3rd start. You'd think he's going to get better every game.
Yeah.
I thought Bryce Foster got better as the game went on. I don't know right now that I feel like Father is playing to the same level that he played last year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he is, and I don't know how they're grading him out. It seems to me, and I could be wrong because, again, I don't know how they grade him out. It seems to me left guard's a concern.
Yeah.
But I do think they made progress and continue making progress. It's what you got to do. Continue to get better.
Marty Funkhauser says, Nuño, stop making excuses for everything. What am I making an excuse for?
I'm not sure.
I haven't made an excuse? I try to find reasons for why things go a certain way, but it's not an excuse. The offensive line's not good enough. The run stop is not good enough. The separation from wide receivers, is it an excuse that a couple of contributors weren't there? It's just the truth.
It's a fact.
It's just a fact. I'm not.
I wish they would, if you're going to say, hey, you're making excuses, exactly, give an example of what you're talking about, because I don't mind calling anybody out, even if my partner, if I disagree with them, but I don't know what he's talking about.
By the way, everybody has their own observations. Like, I'm totally fine with bringing up a perspective. Hey, I think you're making an excuse on this. I'm just telling you that I think the O-line has not been good enough, and I'm hoping by week 5 or week 4 they're better. And I'm looking at last year is different. I am Am I optimistic that the wide receivers will be better with two almost starters, pseudo starters? I mean, Chris Marshall's not necessarily a starter, but he gets starter looks.
Yeah, I mean, he has been more productive than some of the starters, and that's not saying a whole lot because he hasn't been ultra productive. But when they've thrown him the ball, you know, he's caught it, and he's a big target, and he's a physical guy. So I'd like to see him out there.
He says that their offense last year was better than anything we've had in the last 5 years. And I'm glad you said that because before the show, OB and I went through it.
A&M's offense last year was better than anybody?
Well, I don't necessarily agree that. But I do think the offense last year is better than anything we've seen this year because I went through some of those numbers.
Well, I can agree with that. Eventually it got there. 4 games into the season, this offense was not better than it is now. 4 games in.
I'm trying to think back. You had the Kent State game, which was very similar to Sam Houston. You had Colorado, which is very similar to App State, but you ended up winning that game. You then had New Mexico, which doesn't count. Then you had Arkansas, which was atrocious. Yeah, and we're about to find out how it is today.
But they got better, and maybe this team's going to continue to get better.
You would hope.
You hope?
You would hope that they would be able to get better. But I think those are all interesting points of where we are with this team because I think you see the potential of what the there are plays to be made that aren't being made, and you can blame it on quarterback, which for a long time people pointed at Zach, and then you point at Haynes. Right now, Max is the guy, not under fire, but with the eyeballs on him for being the guy. And I was impressed with how he handled his first gig, but I want to see more production. I do want to see what the offense looks like with your maybe second best offensive weapon in Evan Stewart.
Third,
Anias, Devon, and Evan. But your biggest big play potential over the top guy.
If you make them. If you make that big play.
If you make
and don't fumble at the end of it.
Oh, yeah. That one I wasn't as...
He's fighting for yardage.
He's fighting for yards, but you got to protect it, though, at the end of the day.
Sacrifice the 1 yard for the ball security.
Yep. Let's do this. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. We'll get to those text messages on the chat, on TexAgs.com, and on the A&B text line at 979-693-1150. You're listening to the TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Troop Over the Hill presents a celebration of Carol Burnett Revival. Performances are September 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Main Street Playhouse in Normandy. For times and ticket reservations, go online to troopoverthehill.com. Brazos County Master Gardeners are hosting an educational program with Daniel Hoffman from Trophy Fisheries, who will discuss garden ponds, construction, features, and maintenance. Tuesday, September 27th at 7 p.m. at the Brazos County Extension Office. 5 alumni and supporters of Blinn College will be inducted into the Blinn College Alumni and Friends Association's Hall of Honor during a ceremony on Friday, September 30th. The ceremony will be held at 11:30 a.m. in the Janice Sneed Banquet Room in the Brenham Campus Student Center. You can listen in to Jimbo Fisher live every Tuesday at 2 and Aggie football players every Wednesday on the Louis Bellina Show, thanks to T-Mobile. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road or click WPI.com.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
I, Louis Bellina, am inviting you to be a part of the Bellucci Hour, brought to you by Dos Equis, each and every Thursday, 1 p.m., a part of the Louis Bellina Show. The Bellucci Hour, brought to you by Dos Equis. Enjoy college football this season with your friends and a cool, refreshing Dos Equis lager. Get a dose. It's the Bellucci Hour, a part of the Louis Bellina Show, brought to you by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service.
What song is this? Oh.
Oh.
Let the good times roll.
Rick Ocasek.
We're not as happy today as I thought we'd be after a victory.
Well, the good times are rolling.
They are rolling. I think we're just kind of like, let's see what happens here with SEC play.
Yeah.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the warehouse at CC Creations. Marty did kind of clarify. He was talking about the excuse I made for the kids who got suspended for the game.
Oh.
And if it sounded like an excuse, I didn't mean it as an excuse. I'm saying I understand an 18-year-old mindset. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm just saying I get it. I hate that it happened on the week after App State, right? Like,
yeah,
a must win.
I was 18 once, but should never happen.
Never?
Should never happen.
But I understand it. I'm not saying I understand like the whole process of sneaking out, yada, yada. Yeah, I do get it. I understand being an 18-year-old kid thinking the game's at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I can go out till midnight, whatever they did, right? Like, I'm not saying it's okay by any stretch, and they should have been suspended. And honestly, I give Jimbo props for sticking to his guns, because in my head, I'm like, suspend him for a half. Like, those guys are important.
Yeah, you were calling for him to be reinstated.
Yeah, just for a half. And you know what? It's better the way it worked out. They found a way to win a game. Jimbo stuck to his guns and sends a message to the entire team. We're not playing around. I'm just saying, at the time, was like, I just want a victory.
Yeah.
Just get me a win.
Yeah, and they did. And so hopefully that means that those guys will be coming out Saturday and playing and looking to redeem themselves and showing how important they can be.
How good is Georgia?
Did you see that Georgia gave up a touchdown with 53 seconds left in the game? And the cornerback that got beat was he was distraught. And Kirby Smart had his arm around him, talked to him like, it's okay.
It's all right.
Because it was the first, they went, what would that have been, 11 quarters and 14 minutes.
Without giving up a touchdown.
That is and Stetson Bennett is playing better than I thought he could ever play.
Props to him. What a story. Like, honestly. Like,
he's a legitimate Heisman contender now.
With everybody doubting him, even after a national championship, this guy has just been cool, calm, collect, making the right plays. And I just think that's a cool story. I'm not rooting for them by any stretch, but I think it's a cool story.
Well, I'll say this. If some team in the SEC was going to win a national championship and it's not A&M.
You'd rather it be Georgia?
I know a couple of teams I'd rather it be Georgia instead of.
Sure. I'm trying to think.
I know one that I'm going to see on October 8th.
Okay. You'd rather Georgia over Alabama?
I would rather
anybody but Alabama?
Anybody but Alabama, because guys like Ryan Fowler, they're so insufferable, and their media are cheerleaders and stuff like that.
I don't like when people start tagging us on stuff.
And they're the fan base again. We can go back over and over the things they've done with the poison trees and the nads on the guy and the woman that attacked the Oklahoma guy in the game at the Sugar Bowl and the woman that shot her sister-in-law because she wasn't upset enough. There's a lot of psychosis involved in that program, so I don't root for them.
So, to me, it depends on how A&M season goes, right? If that's the only loss on their schedule, I'm like, you know what, and they're taking on Clemson in a national championship game, I might go for Clemson. I like Dabo. I'm one of the few that likes Dabo.
If it's, say, Ohio State or Notre Dame, definitely Notre Dame. I don't have to worry about them. But if it was, I can begrudgingly root for Alabama, I guess. Or, I just don't. I'll just watch the game.
Notre Dame barely survived.
Yeah, I know. I don't have to. Yeah, in fact, Cal got screwed in that game. And I'm not saying that because my wife was there and that she's a Cal. Notre Dame missed a field goal. And late in the first half. And they called, they got a second chance, got a first down because they called offsides. Even the NBC, they're in bed with Notre Dame, right? So they even show, and even their guys, commentators saying, I don't see, nobody moved, nobody was lined up in the neutral zone. It was the biggest phantom call, but Notre Dame got a first down and went and scored. And so it was tied at halftime instead of, and they ended up winning by 7.
Yeah, they ended up winning it. OB, last thoughts here. I think Bryce Foster makes a big difference, man.
Yeah, I think I think that line will get better as he gets better, and he got better as that game went on. I think he'll be better this week than he was last week.
For those who haven't checked it out, my interview with him on Stacked yesterday, just really insightful. What a great young man. Just excited he's back. He tells you some of the bumps and bruises he went through his first year and how difficult this game was. He said it was the most painful game he's gone through. This past game, just because his body wasn't ready for it. So great to see him back as he battles back there from Mono. Obi, thank you, sir.
You bet.
When we come back around Aggieland with Kay Nagley, Billy Lucci at some point this hour, I believe. We'll hopefully get Billy. We'll break down his thoughts from the game, go a little bit deeper than we went there on the Luchador podcast, which if you haven't listened to that, do that as well. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Belichick's an excellent coach. I would never doubt that. But we said he was the GOAT. If you're the GOAT, you got to be doing a little better than this since Brady left. It's year 3 now.
Stop!
If you're the GOAT, if you're the GOAT, you can't be the third best team in your division because your quarterback left 3 years ago.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
At a time when misinformation is all too common on social media, we take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on local journalism. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is Aggieland's home for Aggie football, Aggie basketball, and Aggie baseball. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. The Brazos County Health District reports the COVID community level as determined by the CDC has dropped to a medium level. The pandemic was the first thing on the mind of Texas A&M Faculty Senate Speaker Dale Rice when he presented his monthly report last week.
First and foremost is your own good health. Meetings in recent weeks confirm that COVID is active on campus.
Tomorrow's Brazos County Commission meeting agenda includes a pandemic update from the health district's chief epidemiologist. For the third time, the Bryan City Council agrees to change the terms of an economic development agreement involving a downtown housing project.
No council members had anything to say in public before their unanimous vote last week. Across Main Street from the Farmers Market, loft apartments are being built at 22nd and Main. 3 years ago, the council agreed to pay for off-street and on-street parking. Rising construction costs was listed as the reason for the council increasing the city's share of the cost from $100,000 to $150,000. The amended agreement still requires the developer of Jordan's Lofts to be ready for occupancy by April of next year. The building, with a minimum appraised value of $7 million, also includes retail and office space. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
Volunteer work is coming to city cemeteries in Bryan. City Manager Keene Register reported during last week's council meeting that the Young Men's Service League will be putting in up to 400 hours cleaning fence lines at Oakwood Cemetery.
The group will also be helping Wreaths Across America with a project to replace the ossuary for USA flag ashes and rework the Old Glory headstone and grounds behind the Aston Chapel within the Bryan Cemetery.
Register also said the Aston Chapel ossuary will be part of the Veterans of Brazos Valley Memorial dedication the morning of Veterans Day in the Veterans area of the Bryan City Cemetery. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
It's time to get closer and go farther with Optimum Mobile, voted #1 in customer satisfaction. The more lines you add, the more you save. That means you can get unlimited data for $30 a month per line when you get 2 or more lines. Add that line for him or for her and for them, because every line adds up to more savings. And with 5G access included, you'll stay connected on the network that has 4 times more 5G coverage than Verizon. Switch to Optimum Mobile and get unlimited data, talk, and text for $30 a month per line for 2 or more lines. And the savings keep adding up with great deals on the latest 5G phones with the lowest monthly pricing. It's the perfect time to get closer to Optimum Mobile and go farther with more ways to add and save, all at the same time. Visit Optimum.com/mobile or call 800-864-0500. Autopay required. Exclusive pricing for 2+ lines of service with unlimited data option. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. Other terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Number 24, Texas A&M football got back up on the win wagon Saturday, edging number 13 Miami 17-9 at Kyle Field. Max Johnson picked up his first victory as the Aggies starting quarterback, completing 10 of 20 passes for 140 yards and a touchdown.
Freaking awesome. I love playing with these guys, going to practice every day and, coming out here, getting a win over a top 15 team is pretty incredible. Shout out to the O-line and to the defense for, playing great tonight.
Well, Johnson got by with some help from Devon Achane, who ran for 88 yards and caught 4 passes for 42 yards in the score. With the victory, the Aggies improved to 2-1 and jump up to number 23 in this week's AP poll. To get Coach Jimbo Fisher's thoughts, tune into his weekly press conference this afternoon at 2 right here on The Zone. Head out to the volleyball court where the Maroon and White had a solid weekend, going 2-1 at the Western Kentucky tournament. The ladies bounced back from an opening loss to Indiana with sweeps over number 21 WKU and Tennessee Tech. And Aggie soccer opened up its SEC slate on a bit of a low note Friday, falling to Georgia 3-2 at Ellis Field. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Looking for The Zone prize rules? Would you like to apply for a job at The Zone? Or need a phone number or email for The Zone? Visit zone1150.com. Would you like to sign up for The Zone All Access newsletter? Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Or would you like to see The Zone's daily schedule? Visit zone1150.com for more information, any questions, to contact us for everything and anything about The Zone. Visit zone1150.com.
Well, he just played with very good consistency, knowing what we were doing in the game plan. He played very consistent, was accurate with the ball, and made good decisions.
And how difficult is it as a coach to make that kind of call 2 weeks?
I'm sorry,
how difficult is it as a coach to go ahead and make that call?
Well, it's very difficult because, listen, quarterbacks take all the glory and all the blame. And I'm telling you right now, by far. And then Haynes had some things he could have done better and played better, and I've said that before. But it was not all him what was going on. And the guys around him could have made some plays at times and blocked and did things too. So, and we still got to get a heck of a lot better on offense. But I thought that was what was best for us to win the game, and that's what we did. But Haynes is still very much in our thinking and what's going on. Practiced very well, and so did Max, and so did Connor.
Jimbo, about the quarterback change there. Look, bottom line is he looked more comfortable than Haynes. Haynes never looked comfortable. Doesn't mean he won't figure it out, especially with those legs. But I'll give Max this. When he had opportunities to run, he ran, got him some good yardage. I thought he was a very efficient game Nothing to be upset about there from his performance. Offensively, yes, there are still some major issues, and we'll break those down here throughout the show. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, and now it is time for Around Aggieland, presented by Normandy State Bank. Normandy State Bank, rock solid banking. The website, normandystatebank.com. Kay Nagley is with us. And before we get in on Around Aggieland, I told the crew here.
Last Around Aggieland, he had it on air, documented.
Yeah, that if A&M won by double digits.
You did say double digits. I will give you that.
I was going to meet you all at Northgate.
Mm-hmm.
And at around 12:40, you're like, no fun, Nuño, you coming?
It was earlier than that. I texted you soon-ish after the game, and I said Northgate with all caps. And then you said double digits, and I talked to Emily Fiedler, who also works there, and I was like, dang it.
But I was going to go, because when we were done with the post-game show, almost 1 o'clock, then No Fun Bronny and No Fun Richard Zane and No Fun everybody was like, dude, it's going to take you like an hour to get over there.
Realistic. No need to be realistic in times like that. You know?
So it's like a 40-minute walk. How long do you think it would take me from here to Northgate?
I mean,
35 minutes?
I walk 40 minutes on campus every day, so it's pretty easy to do that. So.
All right, let's hurry up and do Around Aggieland because Billy Lucci's actually here.
He's here. All right. So first off, the 24th ranked football team upset number 13 Miami 17-9 on Saturday night in front of 107,245 fans, the third largest crowd in Kyle Field history. So I'm sure we all watched that. And then the Aggies will take on number 10 Arkansas at AT&T Stadium on Saturday at 6 p.m. And that game can be seen on at ESPN. Volleyball, your Fighting Texas Aggie volleyball team is 8-3 going into conference play. The team went 2-1 at the YKU Invitational this weekend, beating Tennessee Tech number 21 YKU, both in 3 sets, but they ultimately fell to the Indiana Hoosiers, and they will kick off SEC to play tomorrow at 6:30 in Oxford. Women's golf will be playing in the Memorial Invitational this week, starting tomorrow, so wish them luck to those girls. And then finally, A&M Equestrian Team will host its annual Maroon and White scrimmage on Sunday at 1 p.m. at their complex, and admission is free, and those live results can be found on 12thman.com. So
very good stuff there, Kay.
Always.
Thank you very much. If you want to be a part of the conversation, all you have to do is text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. That is the A&B text line. You can do that, and we will break it all down for you here on the program. We're going to take an early break so that way Billy can come in. We'll do a longer second segment, and we will talk all things about the game Miami, look ahead to the Arkansas game, obviously, and what A&M is going to have to do offensively to really start scoring some points. All that and more here on TexAgs Radio.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Bush Library invites you to a summer film series featuring The Princess and the Frog. Friday, September 23rd by the pond. Games and food start at 7 and the movie begins at sunset. Brazos Valley beekeepers are hosting their annual bee school on Saturday, September 24th at First Baptist Church in Bryan. The full-day school has over 50 classes with many hot bee topics. Visit bvbeaks.org for more information. The Rotary Club of College Station invites your children to go wild with Roar, Rotary, and Reading. Saturday, September 24th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Hope Pregnancy Center invites you to Light Up the World, their annual benefit banquet on Thursday, September 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Ice House on Main. Find a link to purchase your tickets at WTAW.com. Start your Arkansas Saturday with the Zone Game Day Show, brought to you by TexAgs at 3 p.m. with Dusty, Bryce, and Louie. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hear ye, join the King of the Texas Renaissance Festival in the first ever Renfest Northgate Pub Crawl on Friday, September 23rd. 6 p.m. at Rough Draft, 6:30 at Dudley's Draw, Dixie Chicken at 7, and O'Bannon's Tap House at 7:30. Dress in your favorite Renaissance garb for a chance to win Renfest tickets. Come to one, come to them all. We'll see you in Northgate this Friday, and we'll see you at the Texas Renaissance Festival starting October 8th. Huzzah!
Hurry
Hurry into the Energy Savings Event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool energy-efficient appliances. You can also save with the smart thermostat. Right now, select Google Nest Learning thermostats are $60 off. Plus, find other great energy-saving items throughout the store and check your eligibility for rebates in your area to save even more. Don't miss the Energy Savings Event at Lowe's. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. Visit Lowe's.com for details. Valid through 9/28.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Zwerneman Flooring, Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Specs Wines, Spirits, and Finer Foods, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
The host of ESPN's Countdown to College Game Day joining us right now, Christine Williamson. Let me start with last weekend in Austin. What was it like being there and that atmosphere?
Even though they were still trying to keep the energy, you could tell that there was a lot of tension amongst the fans.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on The Zone.
Well, hello there. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Happy to be back here on the program, and we're going to chat with Billy Lucci, who went to go watch the Red Hot Chili Peppers yesterday. I'm assuming it was a great time. Billy.
It was great. I had a dog sitter lined up. I was either going to get up at 6:30, drive down here for this, or 7:30, drive down for the 10 o'clock, do the 9 on the phone. Got there, had a dog sitter lined up, and took my key with me.
Oh, no.
Garage door's not working right now. I don't know what the spring or whatever they told me. So, yeah, I came back last night.
So what time did you get back?
2.
Oh, that's
it
not
wasn't that bad.
That's not too bad.
It wasn't that bad.
3-hour drive?
Almost. You know, that's it's just practice for this weekend. If I decide just to ship right on back after that game, it's going to be about the same time schedule. So, but no, it's not that bad. But it just, I'm so used to going to Dallas. It's from my front door to anywhere I'm going. In where I go in Dallas, 2.5 hours. That extra like 20 minutes, you feel it, especially that late at night. So it's okay. I did a lot of car singing. Problem is, at that time of night, you can't call anybody. I can't go through and just badger people on the phone for like 3 hours.
Dalton's up at that time, don't you think?
Yeah, God, hell no. So it's just literally driving and singing. So I don't have a voice. Between the game Saturday, it was loud at Kyle. When it's loud, when you can't talk to anyone this close, when somebody's right here, you've yelled for 4 hours. Then the concert last night. And the concert I put on in the car a lot. So,
what time did you wake up this morning?
And now I got to talk to you. Get to talk to you. This morning, I went to sleep at like 3. So.
Oh, okay.
We got a nap. We got a nap scheduled at some point today. So don't bother me.
No gym?
No, I'm gonna go.
All right.
But I'm gonna nap.
Let's talk big picture. The importance of this victory over Miami. Just with everything that happened over the last week, the state of the program, the state of the season, I should say, not the program, the state of the season, and maybe what the ripple effects could have been had it gone the other way.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in that mode where it's a week-to-week snapshot, and everyone's going to ride the wave. And when I say everyone, I mean hopefully not us as much. I like to be a little less of a wave rider than the crowd. Some people, now I think some people in particular that listen to the show and go race back, and it's funny, there's certain people that hear us, read us, and they try to race back across the street, and they go, oh, Billy said this or TexAgs said that. It's been a 100% fail rate, and those people that do that do coaches and people in Bright a complete and total disservice because some people can't handle that. And when you can't handle it, it's 100% fail rate. Like, it doesn't work to have little rats in your circle. And by rats, I mean they're on TexAgs and they rat us out. It doesn't help you at all. It's a foolish, losing, fruitless endeavor to do that. It doesn't help the head coach. It doesn't help his staff. It's a waste of time. It's negative energy. They don't need it. I would think that I would hope people would have the common sense, like, don't listen on the Sunday after you lose to Appalachian State at home. Don't. I would say don't listen on the Sunday after you beat Miami. Just go about the job and keep getting better. And that's what they did this week. They got better. They made big strides. They had to. I thought this was I made the parallels, David, to the Florida game. And it is big for the program moving forward. Now, you have to back it up. You don't have to back it up and win every game. They don't this year. They didn't coming in. They still don't. But you still have to figure out, what do I have to do to have a good season in the eyes of the donor base that continues to give and give and give and be asked to give more and more and more, and they're willing to do that. What do I have to have a good season in the eyes of my loyal fans, 100,000 that came out despite that loss, created an incredible atmosphere to help us win a close game? What do I have to do to get better for the guys in this building, which I know that's the one thing about Jimbo, that is the two things that I know for a fact are going on over there is his commitment and almost like maniacal dedication to fix it, and not just fix it when it's going good, to sustain it and keep winning. The second part is how badly he wants to see those kids win and have a winning locker room after the game like they did the other night, and not feel like, they did. He cares on that level. I know that. I know that more than most, and I think it's the case with him more than it has been most coaches I've seen come through. But I thought to have a successful season, they're going to have to win more, but I didn't think there was a path to it losing on Saturday night. I didn't think if they lost to Miami, I just didn't see the recovery coming, especially when you throw in the 4 suspensions and the week that was and the game that was a week ago and what lies ahead and the way that locker room would have been and the way that crowd turned out to support. I just think this was one of the 2 most pivotal games that Jimbo's had. The last one was Florida, and you saw how it went after that. So hopefully we see a similar response from this team. But that Miami game I would put up there with Florida. You had people kind of lining up ready to, deliver the message that A&M and Jimbo Fisher did not work, and this is why. And, now the Aggies win. They get a lot of good pub this weekend. You beat a traditional college football power at home in front of God knows how many recruits, a lot of 5-star guys from across multiple classes. That atmosphere was absolutely unmatched. So because of all that, I do think it was top 3 win for Jimbo since he's been here. I would say Florida. I would say Alabama's obviously won, but I would say Florida, Bama, and now this, even ahead of the Orange Bowl. I think this one was more. The Orange Bowl was more historic, and A&M needed to break through that ceiling and win in a New Year's Six. But this was a bigger win. It was more important for what lies ahead, in my opinion, and because of also what would have happened if you lost. The swing that took place when the defense goes out and gets that 4-down stop at the end of the game, the swing that took place with how the program was perceived, and maybe it's just for a week, but I don't think so. I think it's something they can build on. I'm not saying that guarantees them to beat Arkansas Saturday, but I don't think they're beating Arkansas off a 2-game losing streak with all that was going on.
Sure.
I do think they have a legitimate shot, and we'll talk more about that game this weekend, but they had to beat Miami, and they came out and they beat them. And what I liked most about it, David, is how badly they looked like they wanted it. And that encouraged me.
Yesterday on Luchador, you kind of gave us a glimpse into what the offense has done, dating back some time. I did some research. I wrote some numbers down for you.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of go through it for you. So against Power 5 teams, their last several games, versus Miami, 264 yards of total offense, 2 touchdowns, A-Chain, LJ Johnson. App State, 189 total yards of offense, 2 touchdowns. 1 was offensive, the other was a special team. So
1.
Right? LSU. Not as bad as I initially thought. 296 yards of total offense, 3 touchdown passes.
That's why I left. Yeah. I left that one out. I left South Carolina out. I left out Missouri. Those in Alabama. Those are the 4 good games. Go through. I'm interested, but there's going to be 4 of them.
Ole Miss, 378 total yards of offense, 2 touchdowns. Devon A-Chain, 24-yarder, and then at the very end, a 9-yarder.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The offense was shut down for a lot of that game.
Versus Auburn. The actual total yards of offense weren't that bad. 0 offensive touchdowns, but 409 yards of total offense.
0 touchdowns. Move on.
In their last 5 Power 5 games, they have 8 offensive touchdowns. 2 versus Miami, 1 against App State, 3 against LSU, 2 versus Ole Miss, 0 against Auburn. Some more numbers for you. In 2022, they're averaging 1.5 touchdowns a game, good for 108th in the country. Last year, 2.7. I'm going to give you a little look at what the SEC is doing. Number 1 in scoring offensive touchdowns in all of college football. Number 1 is Tennessee. 3 is Georgia. Bama, Ole Miss. I threw in App State just so you know a team that we played.
Yeah.
Arkansas and Vandy. All are 17th in offensive touchdowns. Mississippi State, 23rd. Okay, that's all those.
I'm getting the point of it, but
all those teams.
You're reaching my maximum capacity of
numbers
just to hold it all together.
Let me just throw you out this last part.
Okay.
Ahead of A&M, LSU 53, Missouri 53, Florida 75, Kentucky 76, Auburn 94.
I don't know. Kentucky at 76 with Levis is weird. But, yeah, listen, what you just said is what I said. This offense is severely lacking right now and has been for a while. Basically everything you said is since the start of last year, 2021, they had a 3-game stretch where they were good offensively. Alabama, and then against some really bad teams in Missouri and South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So at the start of last year, they played 12 last year. They've played 3 this year in 15 games. And I know they put up numbers against the likes of New Mexico and even Sam Houston. They had a lot of yards. But in 15 games, you would say they played good offensive football for a 3-game stretch. And that's it. And I know there are circumstances there. I know you lost your starting quarterback. But you started this year with Haynes, and you've already made a change. I know you were without Bryce until this week, and he came back, and it looked better in some areas. I thought Bryce played pretty well, actually, and we certainly didn't see the snaps all over the place and stuff. There are, we just got these 2 really good, outstanding freshman receivers that are going to really open things up and stuff. Everybody has circumstances. Everybody's dealing with guys that get hurt or banged up, or you lose guys to the NFL, or, you have a lot of attrition. But since the start of last year, the offense has had a good streak of football for 1 3-game stretch. There's been outlying games, but they've been against far inferior opposition. And I would say that about Missouri and South Carolina, to be honest. The other issue is, going back 5 years, you've had, or four plus now, you've had offensive issues in 3 of those first 4 years, except I think 2020's offense was really good. I think it was really damn good. It didn't show up maybe as much. Like, here's what I'll say about 2020. That is a forget your numbers year. That offense was tough to stop. You go ask coaches around the SEC, you look at what A&M did when they had to score. You look at what A&M did late in games. You look at them against Florida. You look at how they moved the ball in the loss to Bama. You look at second half against Auburn on the road. You look at what they did in dismantling teams like Tennessee and South Carolina. You look at that Orange Bowl against North Carolina. Florida game. They moved the ball and scored. Arkansas, this team, this Odom defense, started the game 3 and out, 6 touchdowns on 6 possessions. Touchdowns. They ate them up that year. That offense was good. First year, there were a couple outlier games, the bowl game, the Clemson loss. But year 1, year 3, year 4, offense has been an issue. Or year 1, year 2, year 4, offense has been an issue. And to be honest with you, David, a lot of it's been O-line quarterback related. And I know the two tie in together. It's hard to have, your quarterback excel when you have O-line issues. In the 2020 season, they had all 4th and 5th year guys plus Kenyon Green, a first-round pick. So it stands to reason that would be their best O-line. That's my biggest question with this team is how long is it going to take? Like, even if Haynes is back there, you start getting Haynes better snaps where not every play he's doing this. And with Max, I've seen Max play. I saw him the other night. I've seen him play at LSU behind a bad line. I want to see what either of those guys would look like with improved blocking and more time to throw. Like this weekend against Arkansas, their secondary has not been good. They're getting shredded through the air. Is A&M equipped to take advantage of that? I think I've seen Max Johnson shred A&M's defense. I've seen him shred DJ Durkin's defense at Ole Miss. I've seen him beat Florida a couple times by making really good throws to get it, in order to get it done. To do that, they're going to have to block. Because I think you're going to have to score to keep up with Arkansas Saturday. I heard you earlier, I'm very concerned with A&M's run defense. And look, that was one of the reasons why I said I don't think they should yet be a top 5 or 6 team entering the season, because they don't return a quarterback, and they lost their entire D-line. I thought, and I still do, by mid-season, this unit can really start to thrive. But you replace 4 starters, and they got guys with experience. One of them has hardly played at all in McKinley, who's your best guy, your most experienced. So really, you've played first couple games without your 5 best D linemen from last year. Okay, 5 of them, and then Tumiche missed your big game last week. So you were really down like half of your starting D line on Saturday anyway. That, to me, means it's going to take longer to come together to be at an elite level. I watched that defensive front the other day. They're having a hard time getting pressure. They're having a hard time getting off of blocks. And that's showing up in run defense. And they're missing Andre White, at least what you were hoping he would be. Because have you seen him? You see him at all during camp? That is a big, physical dude, if nothing else. I don't think he's a fly around the field guy. He's a big physical dude that's a senior that knows what to do. They're missing a lot up front that they need back and that they thought they would have, and it's showing. So Arkansas is going to take advantage of that with KJ Jefferson, with that backfield. Getting back to what I was saying, the Aggies are going to have to score points. They can if they block. That's not the Arkansas defense it was last year. It ain't even close.
Nope. And by the way, you mentioned the line changing so much, but in that game alone, Evan Stewart, this is from your write-up, by the way, Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall, Jake Johnson, Tumise, Walter Nolan, McKinley, Damani, Brian George, Andre White, Denver Harris, Smoke Bowie, and Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, who you haven't had yet, but still, he's
probably this week.
Close. That's a lot of production that wasn't there.
And I think that was like, and I think I left off Eni White. So that's like 14 guys. Of those 14, you might have 9 or 10 of them back this week. Mm-hmm. And within 2 weeks, I think you'll have all of those guys back except Andre White. I think he might. I don't know if it's necessarily the bye week, but it might be Bama. But I think he's out for another few weeks. He had that knee scoped. But yeah, I mean, you might have to start the Arkansas game, you might have to be playing with 10 guys that weren't playing in the second half of Miami. I mean, just off the rip, the 4 suspended, Damani and Brian George, so you're already up to 6. I mean, yeah, I think absolutely you could end up having about 10 guys that you did not have available in the second half. So all the more reason that this team should get a lot of credit, a hell of a lot of credit, for coming out and winning that game. And I've heard people say, well, they didn't really, they barely. Well, yeah, Miami had the ball with a chance to tie, but it wasn't quite to the level of Arkansas beating A&M last year, where it was 17-0. It was 17-3 at halftime. But A&M, the Aggies were that close to finishing that game off. And they pulled out 17-3. They controlled the football game. Miami never really threatened until that last possession when you look up and go, okay, A&M needs a couple first downs here or Miami's going to get the ball with a chance to tie it. But even then, honestly, at watching that whole game, David, how nervous were you that they were going to tie it? That they were going to drive down.
Only on Anias's muff. That was the only time. I was
yeah.
That's it.
But that wasn't even for the tie, was it? That was
no.
They ended up holding them to. That was 17-8 at that point, or 17-9.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that being 4 or 5 yards away from.
They would. Yeah, that would have been. But to me, there was never a point where on that final drive when A&M punted it away, they had good field position with enough time, and I was not scared that they were going to score. And normally in those late games, that's when you fully expect something to break down. The quarterback always seems to find the guy for that big, we're talking the Max Johnson drive last year, right?
Right.
I never thought that because the Aggies controlled that football game. They were the better team than Miami throughout. It wasn't by a wide margin. Maybe it would have been with all those players, but they controlled the football game. They were up 10-3 at the half. You felt like, man, it was close to being a little more. They went up 17-3, early third, had a nice cushion. Miami tried to get back into it. You kept holding them to field goals. A&M had game control that whole time. It was not dominant. It was not, they weren't good in run defense. Their offense, the passing game wasn't really there. But they had game control for, almost like 3/4 of that football game. So I walked away really proud of them, but also really impressed by how they bounced back because that's a lot of pressure, man. That's your season hanging in the balance. Coaches aren't getting fired off of that game because of the way the contract. Maybe some are. Right. Jimbo's not, but there was a lot of pressure on players and coaches alike this week, and I think the 12th man felt the pressure too. Everyone knew, we got to do our part. You heard the crowd, they're all saying, we got to do our part, and they helped carry it home too. It's weird to say they're a week removed from losing to App State, which that was not the Kyle Field crowd. Now, that's up to the team to get them up G5 week before a monster game. That's up to the team to play and make plays and get the crowd excited. But under Jimbo, this team's been a monster at Kyle Field. It's wild to say because we are literally 8-9 days removed from them losing to Appalachian State. But they have beaten Miami in an incredible atmosphere. Number 13. Forget that you weren't impressed with them, okay? Forget that now you guys have gone from saying they were scary to now they're no good, right? I'm trying to get a rise out of you. I don't know if you've said that. Have you said that?
No, I don't. I mean,
people have though, right?
Yeah.
They didn't look good. Van Dyke didn't look. And I agree. I don't think Van
Dyke looked that good, but it was the defense I think that made that happen.
Yeah, and the Aggie defense played their asses off. They need to get a lot better against the run. That's scary with Arkansas upcoming. But in particular, Arkansas, the two teams that stand out that scares me on right now are Arkansas and Ole Miss. But they beat Miami, number 13 at home. They beat a top 15 Kentucky team at home. They beat a top 10 LSU team at home. They beat number 1 Alabama at home. They beat number 11 Auburn at home. I just named top 15 wins at home for Jimbo Fisher at Kyle Field and the Aggies. It's been too long. If you go back and add up the last, I'd like Tomas, somebody in the back, somebody do this. The last 5 top 15 wins at Kyle Field, and probably top 13, so leave off 14 and 15. Top 13 wins at Kyle Field, go back and find the other 5. You might have to go back 20 years and what they've done here in a little over 4. So that is encouraging when you look at the schedule and you see Ole Miss, Florida, and LSU down the stretch. They just got to get there.
All right, when we come back, Tom Hart will be here, but a moment now for Coach Tavita. Got a text this morning from Holly, and she loves the breakfast tacos out there. I do too. Go check it out. They have those there for lunch. You can get dinner there, obviously, and you can obviously love that breakfast. You can get the coffee out there, so delicious. A great place for a meeting place. Also, with Friday being rain day, they have a great opportunity for catering. So jump all over their catering. They have such great food there at Costa Vida. It's a place that you can pre-order online. You can get through the app, but a place that I can guarantee you're going to love how fresh the food is. When you go there, you know the food is being cooked for you right as you show up. It is fresh Mex, and they do it the best way possible. And Holly and her whole crew love A&M. She's a great Aggie. She's, not only is it locally owned and operated, but it's a place that loves to cater to Aggies, along with their catering menu, and also the alcohol with the bottled beer and the pina coladas, the sangria, the margaritas. But again, the fresh Mex made the right way. Costa Vida there in South College Station. It is Costa Vida in South College Station.
You never know who might stop by TexAgs Radio. Jimbo, Schloss, Buzz, Ross. It's TexAgs Radio. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 on The Zone.
Time to talk Factory Builder Store, celebrating that new location in College
Hey,
Station.
Mr. Hart, how are you?
Excellent.
How are you?
Road, right next
Great,
to the
great.
Ashland
How's your
Outlet.
weekend?
They can service builders and the general
Epic.
public with locations throughout
Where
Texas,
were you?
including right here in College Station.
Florida.
And at Factory Builder Stores,
Florida.
you're
Cool.
dealing with local people who do things
All right,
the
well,
right way. So whether
Billy
you're building a
is
home
here
or
as well,
upgrading
so
appliances
you'll get
or
David and
outdoor
Billy.
living at
We
your
should be
existing
good to go
home,
here in
let
about
Factory
2
Builder
minutes.
Stores
Just give me a
take care
thumbs up
of
if
you.
you can
Factory
hear
Builder
the
Stores,
hear the
College
audio.
Station showroom open now Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5
Got
p.m.
it.
at
Cool.
Old Welborn
Got it.
Road.
We'll take off in a second. Thank you.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when you say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L, rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
All right, for more information, visit RolloInsurance.com.
The Brazos Valley Symphony Orchestra presents Ode to Joy on Sunday, September 25th at 5 p.m. in Rutter Auditorium on the campus of Texas A&M. The BVSO joins with the Brazos Valley Chorale and the Houston Masterworks Choir to bring this magnificent concert that is dedicated to the people of the Ukraine. This concert will feature Beethoven's Ninth Symphony with outstanding guest artists, including the Brazos Valley's very own Emily Pulley. Tickets are now available at the MSC box office or by calling 845-1234.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, fighting TexAgs class of '83, with some exciting news. Verabank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, Verabank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself, where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After each and every Aggie home game, let's talk about it. Join me, Louie, and Dusty for the Zone Call-In Show. It's brought to you by TexAgs. 30 minutes after every A&M home game, we take your calls for about 2 hours. Game day all Saturday long on the Zone is brought to you by Brazos Valley Floor and Design, Gage Gandy Bail Bonds, Malik Heating and Air, T-Mobile, and Big Shots Golf, Aggieland.
Scar tissue that I wish you saw. Sarcastic Mr. Know-It-All. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you, 'cause with the birds I'll share.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All is good in the world. A&M won. I don't care. I know Tom's happy about it. We go to the hotline. Tom Hart joining us here from the SEC Network and ESPN. Tom, good morning, sir.
Are we in a better place this week?
It's weird. We are, but we're not out of the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see how A&M does against Arkansas. And then I depending on, I'm not saying they have to. Yes, they have to win. How about that? They need to go ahead and win that game.
Well, sure, but the symptoms are still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
O-line play, quarterback play better, wide receiver. Like what hope was brought from that game? Give me the positives. Give me like 3 real positives after Saturday night, which was a late night.
I got a lot of positives for you, honestly. So the offense is better, even though you don't really see it with the numbers, and that's without contributors. Evan Stewart was out. Chris Marshall was out. So that part of it, those are real contributors.
I'd forgotten about the missing personnel. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And I think Billy counted, 14 contributors are out from this game, and I'll read you some of the names on there just so you know who was out. Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall, Jake Johnson, Tumisi Adelier, Walter Nolan, McKinley Jackson, Damani Richardson, Brian George, Andre Wright, Denver Harris, Smoke Bowie, Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. These are some of the names that are missing. So if you talk about having that kind of production missing, the defense was good. It did give up a little bit too many yards on the rushing side of it, but they didn't give up another touchdown. They've only given up 2 touchdowns this season. That was against App State. Other than that, they've been pitching a shutout when it comes to touchdowns. So I think there's reasons to be optimistic, especially with Max's poise. And Billy's joining us now. He's asking for reasons for optimism, what we took away from that one. I just gave a few.
Like legitimate optimism. Man, to me, I would say, Tom, I was worried about mentally where they were at. Like, they just didn't look ready to roll into a season against Sam Houston. They certainly didn't against App State. I was disappointed in the response when things started to go bad against App State. Frustration set in a little too quickly. I was wondering, Tom, is this too young a team at the wrong spots? I was wondering about the O-line, about quarterback, about just kind of the want to and the intensity and fight of this team. I got that question answered in a big way Saturday night. I thought that was really encouraging and important. I thought guys needed to get a better understanding maybe of what it takes. You lost 4 seniors off your D-line last year. Then you had a 5th. Then you have, who is Slosh just came by and said, "Hi, Tom," in the window.
He's the best.
You had a 5th in McKinley Jackson, who hasn't really played yet. So really your 5 best D linemen off last year's team are gone. Unless you're Georgia, that's tough to replace. So those guys needed to come out and kind of, I think, get a better understanding of what it really took to prepare and play. But outside of that, what I need to see to be really encouraged is continued progression along the O-line. They got better. There's still a long way to go. If they're good this week against Arkansas, Tom, I think that'll be one of the most entertaining SEC games of the weekend. If they're not, the Aggies aren't going to go up to Cowboy Stadium and win, because if Max Johnson has time, you got Stewart and Anias and A-Chain and Chris Marshall out there, they're going to hit plays in the passing game and score points, and people are going to feel a lot better about this offense. It all starts up front. That was my concern that was not alleviated and has not been answered yet.
Max in the past was a quarterback who, when he got pressured, his brain just started moving a little too fast. He made some decisions, and this happens to all quarterbacks, right? I mean, this is why coordinators dial up pressure. But you get in their face, you rush them, they start making ill-advised throws. The great quarterbacks and the elite ones, the great quarterbacks don't get bothered by pressure. The elite quarterbacks find a release against the pressure and take advantage of it. And so I think that makes the O-line play so much more important for him, because he's not a guy who's going to tuck the ball and run and make big plays. Wasn't it the Clemson game a couple of years ago? Kellen got sacked like 9 times in that early season game, the game at Clemson.
At Clemson. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, listen, good quarterbacks against pressure are going to have issues. So I just think the O-line plays is so very, very important to this team. A-Chain looked really good, didn't he? I mean, especially I just saw the stat, 56 of his 88 rushing yards came after first contact.
Wow.
That to me is a guy who is not as easy to bring down as he may look, and is going to run with the want to that you just kind of described that you were looking for from the whole team.
Yeah.
Like that dude's out there battling. He's not just superior athletically.
Tom, what did you learn from the Florida-South Florida game? That was the game you were at, right?
Yeah. And Florida's going to have its hands full against Tennessee this weekend. Anthony Richardson against Utah looked like the next coming of Cam Newton, Terrell Pryor, take your pick, big quarterbacks that can run. But they haven't run him really because they're afraid of the depth behind him, the lack of depth behind him. No touchdowns, 4 interceptions so far. He's got a long way to go, whereas Hendon Hooker's 6 touchdowns, no picks. And, Hooker's kind of turning into the darling here in the SEC. We talked about him last week, I think. Very, very high floor, and he's expanding his ceiling with each game. I think since he's taken over as a starter for Tennessee, 42 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Wow.
So he's a guy that doesn't make mistakes. Florida looked outmatched by a South Florida team that got blown out by BYU and struggled in a half against Howard. It's just another reminder that in college football, the sample size is so small that we can't help, fans, media, everybody, we can't help but overreact to the result each week when we really should focus on a big picture and more of the process. It's just hard to see week in and week out, right? It's really hard. You got to, I don't know, you got to have a crystal ball or something. I think Florida is going to be a very average team this year. And that, to me, that Tennessee matchup is going to be probably a coming out party for Tennessee because they get the national stage again with game day going to Knoxville. Good opportunity for them.
That one's timing is everything, right? In these SEC matchups, you look back at the end of the year, and you always say, "Man, if they could have played them then," or "Gosh, they were lucky they got to play them early." And that it's so big in this instance. The timing certainly does not feel like it favors Florida in this one. What was your other big takeaway from around the league this weekend, if anything?
Well, I've got the Alabama game on in front of me, and once again, small sample size, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw Alabama in person and watched them practice, and even Utah State's head coach said that was the best team he had ever seen. And then they looked pretty pedestrian against Texas, very sloppy, made a lot of mistakes. They obviously overmatched Monroe, but they flashed everything. They had a sequence after Bryce Young threw a pick on just a bad pass, just an underthrow. They went pick 6, block punt for a touchdown, and just their athleticism took over. And what they did, what is fascinating to me is how coaches can manufacture momentum, right? I mean, you kind of touched on it, Billy. Like it's who you play and when you play them, who has momentum. Well, they'd gotten a pick 6 from Will Anderson, who's maybe the best defensive player in the country, but was inconsistent against Texas, had a lot of penalties, looked a little sloppy himself. They get the pick 6, they come out, they hold him to a 3 and out, and they decide, let's overload the left side, let's run punt block. Like Alabama doesn't need to be running block against Monroe, right? What are you doing? But they run punt block because they say, and this is Nick Saban, we're going to put our foot on their throat. Right. And not only are we going to end this game right here, but we're going to prove, forget about Monroe, we're going to prove to ourselves that we're elite. And I'm going to let my dudes eat. So let's go get a punt block. Let's grab momentum. Then the next possession, Bryce Young runs it in on a little zone read. Like, let's be us. And I think a lot of times the coaching staff can put their team in that position by saying, okay, let's go. It's like putting the ball in the hands of your best player in a basketball game. Let's go on a 10-0 run. Let's leave our best pitcher in for the 8th because he's shoving it. And let's prove to this other team that, we can dominate. And it's not just about that one game or that one series or that one play call. It's building momentum for the long run, and that's what Alabama looks like.
Tom, I'm going to ask you this because I'll be honest, I was a little surprised by the result and the way that one went in Baton Rouge this weekend.
Yeah, me too.
Were you? Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Your thoughts on what went down in Death Valley.
Well, I hesitate to say that was a must-win game for Brian Kelly, not for LSU, but for Brian Kelly. But that's what it felt like, because Mike Leach can beat anybody at any time, and that was a really good start. And a quarterback that's underrated because he's in that system. People probably don't give him that respect. They played the really late night game at Arizona. Jaden Daniels played really well for LSU, and contrast that to, his former school. Herm Edwards is out.
Ooh.
He's out.
Have you ever seen the on-field AD? I've never, ever seen
saw that video.
They caught him before the tunnel.
The
AD and the university president, he was heading to the locker room, and they flagged him over, literally standing in the end zone on the way to the
Is that
tunnel.
actually where they told him?
No, but I'm just saying there was like a 60-second or more conversation with, it was very uncomfortable looking, kind of, should I hug you here? Do I put my and it was they picked him off on the field running into the locker room with the team. So yeah, probably the second firing of the season, right? Major one.
Yeah, I mean what's worse, that or getting the tarmac treatment like Lane got at USC.
Yeah. I'm saying the tarmac treatment is kind of tried and true, right? It's dirty. I don't like it. I think it's a crap way to do it, but we've seen that one. That right there was crazy. It's like, hey, no, come here.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign. It's kind of like, you come in late after a night out with the boys or a long day of golf, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go. No, you come in the kitchen. We need to have a talk. We need to review the choices that you've been making.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Tom, what game are you at this week?
We got Alabama Vandy this week.
Okay.
And hey, great for Vanderbilt, right? Good start for them. They found a quarterback. They changed things up. I won on the road at Northern Illinois. They went with the young guy instead of the guy that they had. And they're just kind of searching for pieces of momentum. I don't know what it's going to take to look like a winner in conference for Vandy. I haven't done a deep dive on them yet. But they've already surpassed their projected win total. They've surpassed their win total from last year. That's what they have to do, is kind of find momentum where they can. Now they're going to have their hands full on the road at Alabama, and I would expect Nick is going to do some of the same things in that game that they did against Monroe. Take advantage of an opponent that you are physically superior to, put your foot on their neck, and try to bury them early, and let your guys kind of find their own momentum and have fun on the field.
Got to drop it right there, Tom. Thanks so much, man. We'll catch up with you next week.
Tom Slosh said, get your butt down here.
We're trying, Billy. We're trying. I got to see Schloss, and we got to go to Republic.
You're like, I've got no control over that, but I want to.
Thanks, man.
Hey, happy belated. I caught that somehow randomly on Twitter like 2 days ago.
I got your gift. That was really nice of you.
No, it's here. It's dinner. It's called Republic. You just said it.
Okay. All right. That's better.
All right, buddy.
See you, man. Thanks.
See you, fellas.
All right, we'll be back as TexAgs.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Troop Over the Hill presents a celebration of Carol Burnett Revival. Performances are September 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Main Street Playhouse in Normandy. For times and ticket reservations, go online to troopoverthehill.com. Brazos County Master Gardeners are hosting an educational program with Daniel Hoffman from Trophy Fisheries, who will discuss garden ponds, construction, features, and maintenance. Tuesday, September 27th at 7 p.m. at the Brazos County Extension Office. 5 alumni and supporters of Blinn College will be inducted into the Blinn College Alumni and Friends Association's Hall of Honor during a ceremony on Friday, September 30th. The ceremony will be held at 11:30 a.m. in the Janice Sneed Banquet Room in the Brenham Campus Student Center. You can listen in to Jimbo Fisher live every Tuesday at 2 and Aggie football players every Wednesday on the Louis Bellina Show, thanks to T-Mobile. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hear ye, join the king of the Texas Renaissance Festival in the first ever Renfest Northgate Pub Crawl on Friday, September 23rd. 6 p.m. at Rough Draft, 6:30 at Dudley's Draw, Dixie Chicken at 7, and O'Bannon's Tap House at 7:30. Dress in your favorite Renaissance garb for a chance to win Renfest tickets. Come to one, come to them all. We'll see you in Northgate this Friday, and we'll see you at the Texas Renaissance Festival starting October 8th. Huzzah!
Time to talk Factory Builder Store, celebrating that new location in College Station, located at 11907 Welborn Road, right next to the Ashley Furniture Outlet. They can service builders and the general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station. And at Factory Builder Stores, you're dealing with local people who do things the right way. So whether you're building a home or upgrading your appliances or outdoor living at your existing home, let Factory Builder Stores take care of you. Factory Builder Stores, College Station Showroom, open now Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Old Welborn Road, factorybuilderstores.com.
Grab your first cup of coffee weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor right here on 1150 a.m. and 93.7 FM. Plus, online at radioaggieland.com. WC Tractor, your local award-winning Kubota in New Holland. Do you have questions? Look them up online at WCTractor.com. That's WCTractor.com. You can also call them at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Powered by WC Tractor.
On Sports Talk, Jimbo takes listeners behind the scene every Wednesday at 4:15.
You got to get guys in the box. You got to tackle well in space and get them in third and long. But then their quarterback's very dynamic. The tight end's dynamic. The receivers can play. I mean, you're going to have to play a complete football game and get off the field and then keep the ball in offense.
Sports Talk, amaze your friends with Aggie football knowledge. Served without Kool-Aid every weekday afternoon since 1994 here on The Zone.
And we're back. It is TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy stepped out for a quick moment. We'll get with him to start off the 10 o'clock hour. We will hit some text messages there. Tomas there?
Yes, David, I'm going to read this one from you from the A&B text line from Matt in San Antonio.
Matt in San Antonio. OB's right on the linebacker play. With Piggy's ability to run, I would love to see some bare fronts, 52 defensive, and go man up on the wide receivers to take advantage of our defensive strength and force Jefferson to beat us passing. Do that and the Ags win. Beat the hell out of Archie. Matt in San Angelo. Appreciate that. Also, we have one from Greg in Katy, who says, I think the offensive line was better on Saturday. I'm still a little concerned by the number of plays that A-Chain was hit and tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Do you think it's primarily due to misassignments, or are we getting beat physically? I think both. But if you can take any solace in knowing that happened at the beginning of last year too, and by the end of it, they were the more physical bunch when the chemistry got set. When you go through all those scenarios and know that it can be fine to finish up this year. Look, I am concerned. This is a big one. But if you can establish your offensive identity in this game, and I'm talking about just some smash mouth offensive line play there, open up what Max can do. And again, big if, big desire, but you can do that. I feel better about it. You got to protect Max, open up some holes. I think you'll have enough to win this game. All right, we'll get into more with Billy here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Do you love Aggie football? The Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service, two remarkable businesses, one great family. We love Aggie football, too. Every Monday at 2, it's Aggie Football Media Day. Jimbo Fisher live, thanks to T-Mobile. And every Wednesday, we listen into the players. Also, thank you, T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. Check in with the Louis Bellina Show weekdays, 11 to 2.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Get connected and be in the know with the Zone. Follow us on Twitter at Zone1150. Like us on Facebook, Zone1150. Subscribe to our daily newsletter at thezone1150.com. This is KCNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. The Brazos County Health District reports the COVID community level as determined by the CDC has dropped to a medium level. The pandemic was the first thing on the mind of Texas A&M Faculty Senate Speaker Dale Rice when he presented his monthly report last week.
First and foremost is your own good health. Meetings in recent weeks confirm that COVID is active on campus.
Tomorrow's Brazos County Commission meeting agenda includes a pandemic update from the health district's chief epidemiologist. For the third time, the Bryan City Council agrees to change the terms of an economic development agreement involving a downtown housing project.
No council members had anything to say in public before their unanimous vote last week. Across Main Street from the Farmers Market, loft apartments are being built at 22nd and Main. 3 years ago, the council agreed to pay for off-street and on-street parking. Rising construction costs was listed as the reason for the council increasing the city's share of the cost from $100,000 to $150,000. The amended agreement still requires the developer of Jordan's Lofts to be ready for occupancy by April of next year. The building, with a minimum appraised value of $7 million, also includes retail and office space. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
Volunteer work is coming to city cemeteries in Bryan. City Manager Keene Register reported during last week's council meeting that the Young Men's Service League will be putting in up to 400 hours cleaning fence lines at Oakwood Cemetery.
The group will also be helping Wreaths Across America with a project to replace the ossuary for USA flag ashes and rework the Old Glory headstone and grounds behind the Aston Chapel within the Bryan Cemetery.
Register also said the Aston Chapel ossuary will be part of the Veterans of Brazos Valley Memorial dedication the morning of Veterans Day in the Veterans area of the Bryan City Cemetery. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $12.99 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades, any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Number 24, Texas A&M football got back up on the win wagon Saturday, edging 13 Miami 17-9 at Kyle Field. Max Johnson picked up his first victory as the Aggies starting quarterback, completing 10 of 20 passes for 140 yards and a touchdown.
Freaking awesome. I love playing with these guys, going to practice every day and, coming out here, getting a win over a top 15 team is pretty incredible. Shout out to the O-line and to the defense for, playing great tonight.
Well, Johnson got by with some help from Devon Achane, who ran for 88 yards and caught 4 passes for 42 yards in the score. With the victory, the Aggies improved to 2-1 and jump up to number 23 in this week's AP poll. To get Coach Jimbo Fisher's thoughts, tune into his weekly press conference this afternoon at 2 right here on the Zone. Head out to the volleyball court where the Maroon and White had a solid weekend, going 2-1 at the Western Kentucky tournament. The ladies bounced back from an opening loss to Indiana with sweeps over number 21 WKU and Tennessee Tech. And Aggie soccer opened up its SEC slate on a bit of a low note Friday, falling to Georgia 3-2 at Ellis Field. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Look inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Don't miss a single guest or moment. You can download or subscribe to any and all of your favorite shows inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. There's also a special selection where you can find select interviews from David, Louis, and Chip. Look up Zone interviews inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Download or subscribe, but don't miss out. Check out the Pod Center at zone1150.com.
What song is this? It's a good one. I just don't know the name. Maybe Sean can let me know. One of those I could see on your playlist,
Really?
Billy.
Interesting.
80s playlist.
Oh, okay.
You know, one of those. Def Leppard.
What, Photograph or Hysteria or...
He's typing. They're both typing.
Hopefully not Pour Some Sugar on me.
And we're about to Hysteria.
Yeah.
Good song.
Big fan.
Quality song.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers the rest of the way.
That was on Seth's mini disc playlist.
Was it?
When he got the mini disc and thought he was changing the world. You guys are so far behind the times. This is the wave of the future. And then all of a sudden you could burn songs on CDs, which prior you couldn't.
Right.
So he thought he had cracked the code because you could make, mini disc. The only person, I challenge anyone listening to tell me one person you knew that had a mini disc player in their car, like installed.
Installed?
Yeah.
Like actually installed,
Yeah,
not like on your lap.
An 8-track player, like a cassette tape player, like a CD player. He had a mini disc player installed, like in the dashboard.
I've never seen that, ever.
Only person I've ever seen.
I had the
maybe the only person in America that did it.
Yeah, that's not common. I had the kind where you could plug it into the cassette and have your little CD player, like play songs.
You had
like
a mini disc one?
No, I think it was regular disc.
Yeah. That's what most people have.
Yeah.
You'd hit a bump on the road and that thing would skip.
Or if it was on 88 point something.
We had it rough, man.
Yeah, we did.
No cell phones. Like when I got to college, you were using maps. It was rough.
You
But
had to record 104.
I'll tell you what wasn't rough. The Chili Peppers last night.
It's good.
I went with C-Rod. It was. I've seen them. I saw them at Lollapalooza my freshman year of college. Best concert maybe in history. Tomas, even you've heard of these groups. From point being 25 years ago. Ice Cube.
Yes.
Soundgarden. Pearl Jam. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Great show.
Amazing concert. Best one I've still to this day.
Was Ice Cube opening?
No, there were other people before that I didn't mention who were hot at the time. It was the second Lollapalooza ever.
Okay.
Then saw them about 5 years ago. Went with my dad. He actually loves them, which is weird because he'll like kind of a song here or there, current, but he's all back in the 70s,
right?
Late 60s, 70s. But from when I saw him in Houston about 4 or 5 years ago till now, they were 10 times better last night. I guess part of it, they played at Globe Life, is it Globe Life Field or Globe Life? But they played there, so it was an arena, and it was packed, pretty packed. To quote Gabe, packed to the
baseball
gills.
field, or
he got a big tweet that went around this week, and so it was a big weekend over there, packed to the gills. It was at the baseball stadium, Globe Life Field Park. But man, they brought it. I didn't realize Kiedis is.
Did they do it on the field?
Like 59. Yeah, like Bad Bunny did.
But did they ruin the field?
We'll see. Does it matter? It's the Rangers.
They're done.
Does it matter?
No.
But no, I'm not a big fan. I like the fact that it's an arena.
Stadium?
The baseball concerts always, I haven't quite, or football. I like a smaller venue, but that place last night, it was done up really well. And it sounded good. It was real loud. You felt like you were at a rock concert, and I like that. And there was a ton of people. It was good. You were out of there pretty early. Traffic wasn't bad getting out, believe it or not. I guess I'm used to what happens at Jerry World, so it's a lot less people.
Or here.
Oh my God, yeah, here might be the worst actually.
You know what I really enjoyed, because I know the Miami fan base pretty well, how complimentary they were of A&M, which isn't their style. I'm telling you, it is not theirs.
Yeah,
First off, most people who like Miami didn't go to Miami,
Yeah.
right? It's just kind of like
Commuter too, right?
Yeah,
Or no?
commuter school, and you're from the area, so you root for the U kind of thing. And it's just a different vibe when you go to a game there. But they were very complimentary on social media, and maybe it's because we were retweeting it, but of how well we treated them. I hope it's the same. It's not going to be the same because it's not Kyle Field. But next year when we're there, I hope it's good love like it was here.
You know why? One of the reasons I thought it was so. I alluded to this a little bit yesterday. Why it was so important for A&M to beat Miami. One of the reasons. Forget like for the here and now in this season and stuff. That is a massive. It's one of the few times I agree with Brawny when he was going at it with Olin during realignment talk of whether Miami was a big brand. That is a massive football brand.
Mm-hmm.
That is a historic football brand. It is, in a way, they're like Texas and USC, where everyone just is begging for them to be back. You know, when Alabama was down, everybody was just begging for them to be back. And that's what they do with Miami. And so everybody was watching because they wanted to see if Cristobal could turn that thing around overnight and if they could start saying Miami's back. They went on the road. They beat an SEC team. Yeah, we're going to in one breath say A&M stinks and they're done. But in the next breath, we're going to talk about what a great win it was for Miami. Everyone was waiting for that. So you go and get that done, and you win it in front of a bunch of Florida kids. You've got guys like Shamar Stewart, Amari Daniels, Yul Keith on the roster. It's nice to see them kind of get rewarded for choosing A&M and coming out here to play. I thought Shamar played really well, by the way. But that kind of stuff right there. But also, A&M lost to they had a home and home with Miami, and they lost to two bad Miami teams. Bad. Like Randy Shannon, just
what a bad era.
Disgustingly bad football teams. One by Fran that kind of led to his, I think he was pretty much done after that. And the other one in Sherman's first year, where A&M scored on the first play of the game, and they got humiliated. I think maybe that might have been a game that McGee, might have been the game he got hurt in, or anyway, it was kind of that transition period from McGee and Gerard.
Mm-hmm.
They got humiliated in that one. Actually, that might have been a game McGee came back. Anyway, that they got rolled twice by Miami, and they weren't good. So there's a little bit, in my mind, a little bit of payback that was overdue. And then around that same time, a few years earlier, they split a home and home with Notre Dame. So they lost 3 of 4 to two of the biggest brands in college football, and A&M went 1-3, which just kind of makes you a non-factor. I'd love to see A&M go 3-1 or better against Miami and Notre Dame in the next, now 3 years, over a 4-year stretch. You want to start setting your program apart, and we're talking about going to this next level, and there are bigger fish to fry, like within the SEC and with Texas coming in. But you want to be like a card-carrying, badass member of the SEC. One of the steps is owning non-conference competition. And under Jimbo, they got a rough early hand dealt to them when it's Clemson. When you go back-to-back against Clemson, one year they win the national title, the next year they're really damn good. That's a tough hand to be dealt. Face Trevor Lawrence twice, that defense once. But you want to be that where Alabama, Georgia, where LSU has been at times, where Florida's been at times, since the Ags joined the league. You better win these high-profile non-conference games with regularity, and you're getting 4 of them in a row against 2 of probably the 5 biggest brands, like when you put it on TV and people want to come to the games and all that. You're 1-0. This A&M team should be loaded for bear next year, and I know Miami will make a big jump, but they will be losing and trying to replace that quarterback. You need to go down there. You should have a great football team positioned to go play them next year, and then you should have an even better team the next couple of years getting ready to play Notre Dame, who we'll see how that goes for Freeman. Who knows how the next couple of seasons go for him. So you got a great opportunity here in terms of how this program is perceived, and you took a big first step because I think you need to win 3 of those 4.
Well, I'm going to give you quickly Miami's schedule the rest of the way because they could be pretty good. Middle Tennessee this week, then North Carolina, Virginia Tech, then against Elko and Duke, October 22nd, Virginia, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Pitt. They have very winnable games leading up to Clemson. Not saying they're going to win all those games, but you're looking at a team that might have one loss heading into November.
Florida State, Clemson, Pitt. You didn't say NC State on there, right?
I don't see them on here.
Okay.
Nope.
I could see them. I could see them losing.
They could lose to North Carolina.
A lot of people picked them to go 10-2. I don't think that team looked like a 10-2 team to me. I think they could lose 5 games. they could lose 4. I think they're maybe a 9-3 team. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they're a 9-3 type of group. Now, I don't know how long until they get Restrepo back. That's a foot injury. That's a bad.
I guess all 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's usually. But no, I'm not buying Miami. I think they're like maybe a 9-4 kind of team this year. Whether that's 8-4 in a bowl win, 9-3 in a bowl loss, which would be a solid first year for Cristobal. But they didn't impress me that much. Again, A&M was playing very shorthanded, coming off a bad loss, probably questioning a lot about themselves. Not a lot of necessarily confidence probably in that locker room. Certainly a lot of toughness and work ethic and kind of coming out there, like I said yesterday, for a fight. But this wasn't the best of, and we talk about timing. I do think if Miami would have played A&M later in the year, I think my A&M would be much better than they were Saturday. So I wasn't that impressed with the U. I wasn't that impressed with the Canes. I know they're recruiting at a high level, though, or they will under Mario. So next year I think will be a lot tougher Miami team, but I think that A&M team should be a lot better than Miami next year.
You asked for the staff to kind of look into some numbers for us, so Nick Savage got these for us.
Nice.
Last 5 top 13 wins at Kyle Field before the win over LSU. Okay, you've got I'll go with number 13, Kentucky in 2019.
That was the one that was the Jimbo one. So that one counts.
Okay, before that,
bucket, yeah.
Number 9, Tennessee in 2016. Number 8, Oklahoma in 2010. Number 8, Nebraska in 2010. And number 13, Texas in 2007.
So you went back from at least 11 or 12 years, 11 years. Jimbo's first year was 18, and they beat Kentucky and LSU. So you went back 11 years to get to 4. Now you got to go back, and Nick, we can do that because I'm interested. One more. Go back one more top 13 win. So we're at 11 and counting, and they've done it, in 4 and 3 games. So Kyle Fields, it's coming back. And by the way, I didn't even think about it. Bear, Chris Felica. I love Bear, what he does. I think he's good, and I think I didn't like that video from a few years ago. I felt like, why are Herbie Fowler and Bear in their car doing these old car videos and just out of nowhere just trashing A&M? But it wasn't even the what they were saying. There were some facts behind it, but just sitting there like Twitter trolls, just laughing at Kyle Field and the atmosphere and A&M during it. I didn't like the delivery of it. The message did ring true. The atmosphere, it wasn't that intimidating, but where I thought they were missing was like, hey, look, it's been 20 years of not very good football, just decent football, with a couple of outliers where they were good and a couple of outliers where they were below decent. But Bear's a Miami guy. So I'd love to know what he thought of that atmosphere. Unfortunately, A&M lost to App, or he would have been here to see it firsthand. So we kind of screwed that one up. But, yeah, I mean, Kyle Field, 107,000, Miami, down goes Bear, down goes The Rock, down goes Sylvester Stallone. I didn't know he went to Miami.
He's a Miami guy?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Down goes Gloria Estefan, the Miami Sound Machine, all of it. Down goes Ed O, who was at the game.
He was at the game, yeah.
At the game, dressed up in Miami colors. Apparently, at Whataburger, hugged up with his girl at the counter the night before. I saw that on the Barstool A&M account. So, yeah, just a nice weekend to beat the Canes. A lot of Miami. Down goes that NIL guy.
John Ruiz.
They all went down Saturday. And down went Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
And who else? Kevin Steele.
Hey,
coached a good game. Steele's tough, man. He's still a good DC. He always has been.
Savage has got something for our ears. I know you don't have your headphone on. I'll relay it to you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Nick.
so I went and found that last win over, or I guess last top 13 win at Kyle Field. That was back in 2002. Number 1 Oklahoma went down at Kyle Field, 30-26.
So in 4 years and 3 games, Jimbo Fisher has had more top 13 wins at Kyle Field, or the same number that you'd have to go back
20 years.
20 years. Now, take away Jimbo's 4+. So he's done in 4 what the program had done in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for that. And it's very important moving forward for 2 reasons. I've always said Kyle Field should be a place, David, where you don't win unless you're a bona fide national title contender, and even then you might lose. To me, that's where the A&M program should be, and that's where Kyle Field, when the A&M program's there and you combine that with Kyle Field, you're not winning here. If you walk out of here with a win, you are a national title contender. Okay? Now, obviously they're not there yet because we saw what happened 9 days ago to App State. But in Jimbo's tenure, what he has done is really started to, and has taken back Kyle Field and made it a very, very difficult place to come in and win. Now, Mississippi State came in here, won last year. That was an outlier. A few years ago, Auburn, Clemson, and Bama. But Clemson won a natty. I think Bama won a natty. And Auburn, Mississippi State in 4 years are the 2 kind of outliers, and then obviously App. But you look at the wins they've had. 13 Miami. I think 12 Kentucky. Top 10 LSU. Number 1 Alabama. Number 11 Auburn. You're starting to get, when there's a big game at Kyle Field, Texas A&M is really difficult to beat. And I think I want to look at this at the end of the year and see how they fare against the Ole Miss, LSU, Florida. And by the way, I forgot, and I said 5 games. There's 6. There was number 4 Florida at Kyle Field. Yeah. I want to see what happens when A&M, if they were able to run the table in those 3, how impressive does that list look through 5 years?
All right, we're talking Milliken Reserve now. Farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got wide open spaces, and they are dedicated to conservation and keeping a healthy community. That's certainly what they've been doing for a long time. They have respect for the native landscape and the wildlife out there, which is why you always see deer out there. Billy's favorite, the songbirds, the rabbits, and the turtles. 30 miles of trails, the homes, the 2,600 acres of open space, and the trails there are phenomenal. We're talking about an extensive network that goes through a very wooded landscape, and it's just beautiful. You'll love every square inch of that area. Unheralded place for families to cherish for generations. They're committed to maintaining and restoring that natural habitat. So when you go to Milliken Reserve today, 20 years from now, it's going to look the same. You want to make sure that generation after generation, you go back to this same kind of place. Hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmer market tours, and farm tours. Check it all out at millikenreserve.com. Again, that website is millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Bush Library invites you to a summer film series featuring The Princess and the Frog. Friday, September 23rd by the pond. Games and food start at 7 and the movie begins at sunset. Brazos Valley beekeepers are hosting their annual bee school on Saturday, September 24th at First Baptist Church in Bryan. The full-day school has over 50 classes with many hot bee topics. Visit bvbeaks.org for more information. The Rotary Club of College Station invites your children to go wild with Roar, Rotary, and Reading. Saturday, September 24th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Hope Pregnancy Center invites you to Light Up the World, their annual benefit banquet on Thursday, September 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Ice House on Main. Find a link to purchase your tickets at WTAW.com. Start your Arkansas Saturday with the Zone Game Day Show, brought to you by TexAgs at 3 p.m. with Dusty, Bryce, and Louie. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why See the why and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
Biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
Cam Jordan and Mark Ingram, the New Orleans Saints.
So am I wrong for picking y'all to go to the Super Bowl?
No, you're actually correct, because we got them dogs all over the field.
Talking about Jalen Brunson, again, newly minted point guard, signed with the Knicks.
I wouldn't necessarily call myself a savior. I'm definitely excited to contribute.
Clark Lee, the head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores.
I think when we put the full force of Vanderbilt University behind this football program, and we have a niche in this conference as a top 15 school, I mean, the value proposition here is through the roof.
Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, Greg Sankey.
I appreciate going to church without having to check my phone every 5 minutes when my wife hits me on the knee. And I try to explain to her, like, people sometimes need to talk to me even during the worship service.
Listen in to ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio, 1150 and 93.7 FM.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate all the text messages there on the A&B text line. We'll go to a couple of those here while Billy works his way back into the studio. Tomas Romo manning the News and Social Center. Tomas?
Got a couple text messages. First off, Spencer in Denver. A&M made all the plays they need to make this past weekend, and they missed the plays that would have blown this thing open. If we're going to win against Arkansas, it's all about consistency.
Sure. Yeah, look, I don't know if I know who Arkansas really is, to be quite honest with you, because I know you can throw on them. I'd love to see A&M have that game where, like, it feels like Sam Houston. Well, Sam Houston wasn't a great offensive performance, but we hit some big plays. You hit some big plays, and you have A-Chain getting his deal done. I'm going to feel much better about it. Arkansas's defense is a little suspect on the backside, but they can stop the run. And KJ Jefferson obviously is going to be a tough one to handle. But if you force him in the pocket, but if you force him to throw, I like your chances much better than allowing him to run on you.
Yeah. They're going to line up, and they're going to try to run it right at A&M. And Kendall Briles is going to see the way A&M has not defended the run the last 2 weeks. And they're going to see weakness up there. They're going to see weakness on the defensive interior. They're going to see weakness at linebacker. And they are going to try to run for 300 yards Saturday. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was surprised Miami
and by the way, Arkansas lit up. That was a good Ole Miss defense last year. DJ Durkin's defense was terrific at Ole Miss last year compared to expectation. That game against Arkansas, KJ Jefferson had a damn field day.
Yeah, he did.
And Arkansas went nuts in that ball game. So the matchup scares me when Arkansas has the ball. When the Aggies have the ball, to me it's as simple as, how does the O-line play? This is not last year. Okay, last year Arkansas, Bryce was in here yesterday and we were joking around with him. He had been like a couple months removed from prom, going up against like a 24-year-old grad transfer. What was his name? Ridgeway? What was the guy's name? The nose guard that just went wild on Texas and A&M. The dude was a stud. Grown man, and going up against Bryce was a kid basically. And that was the same for that whole A&M O-line. They were overwhelmed in that game by a very veteran Arkansas front seven. Now they lost, Morgan, the linebacker. They lost a lot of their D-line. They lost a guy from Williams who had a field day coming off the edge and was harassing Calzada all day. And now you've got experience on the O-line. I know they haven't played great yet. I'm still looking for more from that right side. But Bryce, Layden, Deuce, all coming back. It's a lot different equation than it was. And I haven't been overly inspired by the O-line, but I did see an improvement this past week. Certainly getting Bryce back helped, but I saw an improved unit. They weren't – I wouldn't have graded them very high, but it was noticeably better against a lot better competition. No offense to App State there. I thought App State's talent is really on the offensive side of the ball. It wasn't on defense. So they made big strides. But Arkansas is going to come out. And I just have a hard time, man, picturing A&M stuffing that running game. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll talk more about it this week. So because of that, I think the Aggies are going to have to go in and score points, which they really haven't done this year. I mean, yeah, Sam Houston, they had 31. They had 10 through 28 minutes of that game. You know, scoring has been a problem for the Ags so far, and I think this is the first game that they're going to play where they're absolutely going to have to. And we can say that with a high degree of certainty going in. The only way that wouldn't be the case is if A&M does another bend but don't break and they hold up in the red zone. But that red zone is really hard to defend against a guy like KJ Jefferson because there's that extra element of him running. And where you really get into a problem, Nuño, is when they start that ground game going and then they pull it. And like you said, 3rd and 8, 2nd and 11, you're a lot better shot against KJ Jefferson. If you make him throw and you're sitting back and you have numbers back there, you can win. But I got to see them stop the run to fully buy into that yet.
A couple differences as well. Catalan not being in the game. That is a huge plus for A&M if they can expose that weakness. And also, Traylon Brooks not being there, I don't want to say he was the difference in the game, but he was the difference. He was a difference in that game, without a doubt.
I mean, 85-yard touchdown kind of broke it open, right? But what in that game, what really happened is they came out and they said, we're going to punk your asses, and we're going to run it right at you.
And they did.
And then we're going to tee up. They whipped A&M on both lines. They whipped A&M on both lines of scrimmage, and they whipped A&M with Marvin Leal, Michael Clemens, Jaden Peavy. And now that was very early for Clemens because remember, I think he missed the first game or two. But Clemens, Peavy, Leal, McKinley was playing. I hope they have him back. And then who's the fourth? Oh, and Tyree Johnson. Bunch of third, fourth, a bunch of guys that are in the NFL right now. And that Arkansas line, they're back damn near intact.
Yeah,
Stromberg's a great center. Jefferson's experienced now. They still got a great running game, and they ran at will against A&M, and then they play action, wide open receiver for about a 30-yard gain. Then they lined up. They got the one-on-one matchup. First down, you're expecting a run. They go out and throw an 85-yard touchdown. Game over, essentially. So this to me, this past week was a back against the wall. You better fight for your life and have desperation game. This week is they clowned you last year. They physically punked you. They came in and took your lunch money. How do you respond this week? Because to me, this week is like this is like gut check. This is pride. This is like how bad does what happens on a football field matter to you? And again, it's just like I said against Miami. Early in that game, I was already proud of the team. I was like, okay, I can live with this. If they lose a close one, I'm not going to be happy. It's going to be very problematic moving forward. But I'm proud of the effort. I'm proud of the way the team responded. That's what I was hoping to see. On Saturday, I'm hoping to see a team that I feel like, okay, they have not forgotten last year, and they were embarrassed by that product, and they're determined to make it look different.
We got an Arkansas fan listening on the chat on YouTube.
By the way, my man at the Parker McCollum concert, Arkansas fan, told you this, grew up in Austin, listens to the show a lot. Awesome dude.
Yeah.
Shout out. And he was actually, I think, here this weekend, and we'll be in
Dallas.
A&M family and stuff, and we'll be in Dallas this weekend. So hope you enjoyed Saturday. Hope you don't enjoy next Saturday, and we'll convene maybe at Parker in October in Austin.
Well, his name on this chat is Faraway Hog Fan. He says, look at the O-line. Arkansas leads the SEC in rushing and in sacks, not given, and we suck at pass defense, so who knows? Little nuggets from an Arkansas fan.
Exactly, and he's spot on. That's exactly what we're talking about, and that's the matchup. It's not a good one for A&M. But as a team, if I'm grading them, like I know Arkansas is like they're ranked a lot higher. There's a reason A&M's favored. There shouldn't be a big gap on the scoreboard Saturday. I think this is going to be a fight, and A&M's got a real shot to win. I would give Arkansas a slight edge because of what they've got at quarterback and O-line, and that to me is a massive difference. Now, what A&M's going to have to do is go out there and score. It reminds me a little bit of the game Max Johnson played in back in November with LSU.
Yeah.
You know, the Aggies had a huge advantage on defensive line versus the A&M O-line. I mean, the LSU O-line. But LSU just kind of hung in there. They gave up yards. They didn't give up a bunch of points. I think for A&M to win, they got to do like a, 31-28, 34-30 type of game on Saturday.
All right, we're talking to Caldwell Country Chevrolet right now, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. It starts with the experience that you get there. If you go to the website, you're going to get the best deals out there. They try to change it every month, so when you go there, you're going to see amazing opportunities for whatever pre-owned vehicle you're looking for. And in this world where people are looking for pre-owned vehicles everywhere, that's a great place to start. Also, customer service, it should be part of what you look into when you're buying a vehicle because yes, the price matters, absolutely. But how about what you get with that price? How the entire process went before you purchase your vehicle, the purchasing process, and also afterwards. And the service that comes with it goes a long, long way. 15-minute drive, Brian of Caldwell, short conversation away. But you're going to see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business there with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
He's gone to L.A. to interview Hugh Jackman, Brad Pitt, and Mark Wahlberg. Now he hangs out with Billy and O.B. It's David Nuño with TexAgs Radio on the Zone.
It's time to get closer and go farther with Optimum Mobile, voted #1 in customer satisfaction. The more lines you add, the more you save. That means you can get unlimited data for $30 a month per line when you get 2 or more lines. Add that line for him or for her and for them, because every line adds up to more savings. And with 5G access included, you'll stay connected on the network that has 4 times more 5G coverage than Verizon. Switch to Optimum Mobile and get unlimited data, talk, and text for $30 a month per line for 2 or more lines. And the savings keep adding up with great deals on the latest 5G phones with the lowest monthly pricing. It's the perfect time to get closer to Optimum Mobile and go farther with more ways to add and save, all at the same time. Visit Optimum.com/mobile or call 800-864-0500. Autopay required. Exclusive pricing for 2+ lines of service with unlimited data option. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. Other terms and conditions apply.
Come experience The Warehouse at CC Creations, the world's greatest Aggie shopping experience. With 28,750 square feet, The Warehouse at CC Creations is the Guinness World Records title holder for the largest collegiate merchandise store in the world. We are your one-stop shop for your entire family to stock up on Aggie apparel and gifts. Shop in-store 7 days a week or online at thewarehouseatcc.com. Keep the tradition. Shop The Warehouse, located at 114 Holloman, just 1 mile south of Kyle Field.
The flagship station for Aggie athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Gulf States Toyota, Hargrove Insurance, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road or click WPI.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Belichick's an excellent coach. I would never doubt that. But we said he was the GOAT. If you're the GOAT, you got to be doing a little better than this since Brady left. It's year 3 now.
Stop!
If you're the GOAT, if you're the GOAT, you can't be the 3rd best team in your division because your quarterback left 3 years ago.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio. presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate all the text messages on the A&B text line. Earlier in the show, Billy, somebody asked me to look at what Max Johnson did against Arkansas last year.
Interesting.
You don't remember off the top of your head. But
I'm trying to even think of how that game went. What was the final score of that?
It went into overtime. And
it was low scoring, very low scoring.
16-13 Arkansas.
Yep.
Would you like to know Max Johnson's stats?
This is a weird LSU team last year, right?
Wasn't
They took Arkansas into overtime. They very nearly beat Bama. They beat Florida again.
Beat A&M.
They beat A&M again, and they finished 6-6 and fired the coach. Weird year for them.
So, do you want to
got smoked by UCLA?
Max Johnson against Arkansas, as the quarterback of LSU, survived 2 series before he was benched for Grant Nussmeier. He went 3 of 6, 21 yards, no picks, no touchdowns, obviously. Garrett Nussmeier comes in 18 of 31, 179 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. His QBR was lower than Max Johnson's.
Yeah.
This game was won running the ball. Not that Arkansas.
That was kind of a Haynes King type deal where at that point in the season, LSU was just looking for some kind of spark, and they weren't going to get it. They weren't going to get better on the O-line. They didn't have a great running game. They were without, I think by that point, they were already without Keyshawn Boutte. They were, and they were looking for something. And I remember everybody, all our LSU buddies, any glimmer of hope, they were hyping up Nuss's performance that he was in, and that they went right back, to Max after that. So, no, I mean, that's not enough body of work to see how. But the good thing is that Haynes King is a guy that pays attention. Okay, like when he was hurt, he wasn't just not sitting there paying attention to the game plan and what they were doing. So, and Max has prepared for Arkansas as a starting quarterback. Went out there and played against him. Now I'd have to go back and check. Did he play against? Did he start against LSU in 2020? Because he took over the job in 2020, and that was still an Arkansas team with Barry Odom. Now that defense wasn't. That was in year 1 under Pittman and Odom. But yeah, that would be the question: is did he play against them in 2020? But,
looks like TJ Finley got the start in that one, and he played the entire game.
Okay, so the bottom line, though, is Max Johnson's been in the room and studied and prepped for Arkansas and Barry Odom's defense twice. This will be the 3rd time around for him, but he hadn't played much against him. He's thrown 6 passes, so not a ton of experience, but for a quarterback that studies and pays attention the way this guy does and prepares the way he does, in that game he was going in prepared to play in 2020. So he's going to know what they do and what they're doing. I talked to a couple of the guys, the young Aggie linemen, in the last 24 hours or whatever, and they are they were saying Miami did a lot that they had not prepared for. I don't know if Bryce said that during the interview or not, but they Miami did a lot that they had not seen them ever do. And it makes sense, right? They played Bethune-Cookman. They played Southern Miss. They're in year 1 under a new coordinator, a new head coach. And that would explain a lot of the whiffs and misses. And I heard Olin talking, and I agree, like the left side, you got a lot of inexperience. That left guard situations, I think, got to be pretty unsettled. I thought Zune took a big step forward Saturday night. I thought that was his best game of the 3, which is saying something when the opponents have been Sam, App State, and then Miami. That's encouraging. But I saw too many plays where I'd be like, there's a lineman that didn't touch anyone. And a guy came through untouched. They're just missing. And what those guys said makes sense, right? You didn't prepare for a lot. Now, I'll take that, and it's not an excuse when you win. I'll say, okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's the room for improvement here and what's happening. The encouraging thing is in the hope is that you can't really say that this week, right? That one's off the table now.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Odom. You've played against him for 2 years, this Arkansas team, this Arkansas defense. You've got a world of tape on them over the last couple of years, and even this year, they had to let it all hang out against Cincinnati. They got pushed to the end by Missouri State, but they might have gone in more vanilla for that one. But they got pushed to the edge against Cincinnati, and they played an SEC game against South Carolina. So Arkansas, if nothing else, should not be surprising you on Saturday.
Right.
Whereas I understand where Miami did. I understand where Miami could have thrown a bunch of young guys up front off pretty badly.
Yeah, and I think heading into the Arkansas game last year, there was not just higher expectations for A&M, but you expected that line to be ready. Now you have questions heading into this one. Is this line going to be good enough against a team that gave you fits last year? The physicality that A&M has to bring in this game, because that's what was lacking last year.
On both sides of the ball. That's the word. That is the word of the day, or the word of the week is physical. How physical can A&M be? I can believe we're saying it, because I'm not saying this is a soft team. I'm not saying this is a program that's not built on physicality. But this is a program where you lost. You've been playing without your top 5 D linemen from last year. You're playing, in a lot of instances, a bunch of kids who are 18 years old, some 19. You've had injuries. You'd love to get Tumiche and Walt and a healthy McKinley back. That makes a world of difference. And then offensively, the O-line, again, I think this is a game where I look at Deuce, Layden, and Bryce and say, you guys have to really elevate and play like 3 future pros that they are and kind of set the tone. And those guys really need to step up, and so do the guys on that Aggie D-line.
Got a couple callers on hold. Let's hit a break. We can come back. One from Dallas. And also I want to talk a little bit more about riding your stars to a victory, because they're going to have to do it against Arkansas, but they certainly did it with Anias and Devon this past game. That and more here on TexAgs Radio.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Troop Over the Hill presents a celebration of Carol Burnett Revival. Performances are September 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Main Street Playhouse in Normandy. For times and ticket reservations, go online to troopoverthehill.com. Brazos County Master Gardeners are hosting an educational program with Daniel Hoffman from Trophy Fisheries, who will discuss garden ponds, construction, features, and maintenance. Tuesday, September 27th at 7 p.m. at the Brazos County Extension Office. 5 alumni and supporters of Blinn College will be inducted into the Blinn College Alumni and Friends Association's Hall of Honor during a ceremony on Friday, September 30th. The ceremony will be held at 11:30 a.m. in the Janice Sneed Banquet Room in the Brenham Campus Student Center. You can listen in to Jimbo Fisher live every Tuesday at 2 and Aggie football players every Wednesday on the Louis Bellina Show, thanks to T-Mobile. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hear ye, join the king of the Texas Renaissance Festival in the first ever Renfest Northgate Pub Crawl on Friday, September 23rd. 6 p.m. at Rough Draft, 6:30 at Dudley's Draw, Dixie Chicken at 7, and O'Bannon's Tap House at 7:30. Dress in your favorite Renaissance garb for a chance to win Renfest tickets. Come to one, come to them all. We'll see you in Northgate this Friday, and we'll see you at the Texas Renaissance Festival starting October 8th. Huzzah!
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to
Prosperity Bank, Zwerneman Flooring, ASAP Equipment, and Amarillo National Bank.
To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Nestle Toll House Cafe by Chip, Socorro's Second Chance Resale Shop, Superior Auto Service, and Specialties Photography. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
On Sports Talk, Jimbo takes listeners behind the scene every Wednesday at 4:15.
You got to get guys in the box. You got to tackle well in space and get them in 3rd and long. But then their quarterback's very dynamic. The tight end's dynamic. The receivers can play. I mean, you're going to have to play a complete football game and get off the field and then keep the ball on offense.
Sports Talk Amaze your friends with Aggie football knowledge. Served without Kool-Aid every weekday afternoon since 1994 here on The Zone.
Can you talk about the shot in the arm that this gives you going into conference play next week?
Well, yeah. I mean, you had to win this game. It was a tough game coming off a tough loss, and now you got, hey, it doesn't get any easier. So it's a shot we needed. We didn't need another shot the other way. So we got to keep getting better and just go Sawwood and see what Arkansas is like and go play. Hope we play a great Arkansas team and play them.
All right, go Sawwood. Jimbo says it here. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Roller Insurance Studio. 2 callers on hold, one from Dallas, one from Minnesota. Kurt's been waiting the longest. Let's do this, Billy.
Having a good hair day, Nuño, today.
You are?
You are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No product, just went.
Yeah,
just woke up and went.
I like that. That's a good play.
Welcome to The View. Kurt, you're on the show.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I want to start out by saying that I'm optimistic about this team. I can see a path forward through every single position group to greatness, actually. Perhaps linebacker is my only question.
I'm with you.
There's only one hurdle to me, and it's huge. And I would like it if, and this is probably a tough one to address, if Billy could shed any light, but it stems from the Anais Smith and the Bryce Foster interviews that you posted about this buy-in thing with the team, which seems strange to me after all the momentum, probably the greatest offseason in Aggie football history. And I know it's a delicate subject, but Billy, if there's anything you can do to shed some light on it one way or another, I would appreciate that. And thanks very much. Have a great afternoon. I'll listen.
Great call.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Great call. Great question. Tough question. Like you said, you always got to walk the line between when you're trying to speculate and you're saying like buy-in, right? I think the first thing people do and the media do, they race to say lost control of the locker room. They race to those type conclusions, like bad culture, lost control of the locker room. And there were things last week that would support that if that's what you're looking for with it. But I think on some level what you were hearing about was you got a very gifted group of freshmen coming in, and it's a large group. You know, there were roughly 30 guys coming in. 30 players with that many accolades, that much talent, that much hype. It's not easy to handle. And we're when those things were said, we were 2 games in to those 30 players' college careers.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of them are playing, some of them are not. Some of them are hurt. They're not out there. They want to be. It's a tough job, but you have to be careful not to let a bunch of freshmen come in and change a culture for the worse. And I'm taking some liberties here and assuming that some of it has to do with that many young guys. And I think what we saw Friday night / Saturday with 4 freshmen being suspended, it lends credence to that. And not everyone is having a tougher time adjusting. And I don't think Evan is either. You see by his performance. I know I heard OB point out the fumble. We're not in the business of pointing out every mistake. That kid has already shown that he can make a bunch of plays. The mistake I'll point out is there was a mistake made on Friday night that cost you a game. If I'm one of those players, a veteran on that team, if I was one of those freshmen, I'd have been scared to face my team more so than Jimbo Fisher. That's what I like. Jimbo Fisher can't physically, whip your ass. A teammate can. This is a sport of football. You see it in baseball, basketball that time. So that's who I would have been scared to face. And that's where I want the culture to be, where the guys are like, man, I don't want to walk in that locker room after I did that. Like, I'm scared. Like, I screwed up. Hopefully that was the case. Not to the point where you make a guy, not feel comfortable and welcome in his locker room. That's why I did really like. There was a lot of things I liked that came out of that suspension, and maybe even that act. Not what they did was wrong, and there's a lot of different stories, so I don't want to speculate like the extent of which they violated curfew. And I did hear that Evans was a kind of a lesser degree, but Evans had the work ethic. He's had there's been a level there that's been really exciting to see from him. He took a step back by getting suspended for this game. But I love seeing those guys in their jerseys, on the field, out there, not playing, but a part of the team. And they were part of the team during the game. Evan was very engaged. I saw Chris Marshall saying hi to family and friends, taking pictures with people on the field and fans after the game. Like, you don't want something like that to make those guys feel like outsiders in their own locker room that early and at that impressionable an age. But you also wanted there to be real discipline. And you damn sure were hoping that discipline didn't cost you a must-win game. So if I'm those other players, I'm saying, hey, don't ever do that again, man, or we're going to have a problem. And I'm saying, I hope you know you could have made us lose. I think that's what this is about. I think that's veteran guys kind of sending a message that, hey, guys, there's a different level to this thing now. And it's not all of them. Look at Bryce Anderson. Look at Shamar. We've had Dindy in here and Jake Johnson. But I think that's kind of where this is coming from is, guys, it's a different level here. And I do think leadership was lacking last year, Nuño, in the upper classes, which was really unfortunate. It shouldn't have been that way. So it takes a minute, I think, to recover from that, and then you add in all those young guys. So here's what I'm saying. I'm not deflecting it. I'm saying it is an issue, but I think it's kind of an expected issue.
Sure.
If this is Alabama or Georgia, where they're winning titles every year, and even Ohio State, where they're winning Big 10 titles, or even Norman, where they win Big 12 championships. Well, I haven't lately, last year, but those places where there's just this is a program that's gone 8-4. They had a great year. They were 8-5 the year before that. It's not, you walk in and it's not this established hey, this is it. So this is a transition period, and this is why games like Saturday night are so important to that culture we're talking about and to that buy-in. So I had no problem with those guys calling those guys out. I think it's necessary. I don't mind it. I hope they can stop doing it because it's no longer a thing. But we'll have to monitor that, I think, in coming weeks.
All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs. Billy, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, David.
Our thanks to all of our guests today, which weren't many. Tom Hart was great. Appreciate Tom. And, of course, Olin Buchanan. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to be busy. We got Jordan Pugh coming on this show. That's going to be fun. We have Jamie McCoy coming on the show. We've got Nicole Griffith of KBTX for their weekly hit on the show. We're also going to talk to Alyssa Orange, who covers Arkansas football there. So we'll talk to her. And tomorrow's also shoot day for up to the second college football. Billy might be making another appearance on that program as well. Our thanks to Nick Savage behind the glass and the entire crew, Tomas Roma there at the News and Social Center. All right, guys, Jimbo will be talking here shortly, and a couple other players as well. We'll be all over that. Keep it on TexAgs.com, and we're going to see you all mañana.